Cindy, and I have my son Elijah. He will be joining us, but it's a lot of news. We're waiting for that Senate vote for the big, beautiful bill. But right now, Trump has went. Well, now he's going to visit Alligator Alcatraz. So we're going to go right into it, but we want to look at what they had to say prior to Trump's visit. And so we're going to go there right now. We don't want to wait on this. Don't forget to hit the like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.
They're doing whatever it takes to keep the bad hombres out of Alligator Alcatraz, but they're going to have to try harder. 487's visiting that swamp tomorrow.
Tomorrow, President Trump will travel to the great state of Florida to attend the opening of a new illegal alien detention center located at Dade Collier Training and Transition Airport alongside Secretary Kristi Noem, Governor Ron Desantis, Congressman Byron Donalds, and other state and local leaders. You have illegal murderers and rapists and heinous criminals in a detention facility surrounded by alligators. Yes, I do think that's a deterrent for them to try to escape. We want to keep the American people safe, and we want to remove these public safety threats from our streets, and we want to effectively detain them as best as we can.
Alligator Alcatraz will be staffed with Florida's finest. Meet your new ICE agents. These gators will be patrolling the perimeter, but it's not just bad hombres they're going to have to deal with. Protesters are trying to drain the swamp, too.
To see it harmed in this way is just heartbreaking, and we hope that our voices will be heard in some way.
There's no environmental impact study done, so we don't know. What are they hiding? Financially, it doesn't make sense. Ecologically, it doesn't make sense. I really don't know. It's just a catchy phrase, Alligator Alcatraz.
Florida Attorney General James Uffmeyer joins us now. So grateful to you for joining us today. It really is remarkable. This is all, so much of this is hilarious. But, the idea that Donald Trump has managed to secure the border in the first 6 months of his presidency, it is the largest, it's the biggest campaign promise ever kept by a politician.
Indeed. Thank God we have President Trump enforcing the law. In Florida, we're leading the way to help them. We got a great governor who tasked our state leaders to do whatever we can to help the president enforce against illegal immigrants. And we're becoming the victim of our own success. Our sheriffs up and down the state are making thousands of arrests, which is filling up jail cells. So we're going to need more space. And I know the president has an affinity for restoring the original Alcatraz out west. But in Florida, we always like to be better than California, so we had to do Alligator Alcatraz, which I assure you will be better. Funny. We'll have thousands more beds in Florida. It's basically an island over 30 square miles, completely surrounded by the Everglades, with an 11,000-foot runway that's going to allow very big planes to come in and deport people out of the country.
So, incidentally, what is the size of Alligator Alcatraz compared to all of the Everglades?
It's pretty minuscule. It's about 39 square miles to be precise, and it's 50, 60 miles in every direction. So you don't have to spend a lot. It'll be a low-cost facility. If you get out, there's really nowhere to go, nowhere to hide. In fact, people that get out are probably going to be climbing back in because they're not going to like the alligators and pythons and tough elements that are waiting on them. But look, we are all in Florida to help the president. We got to shut down the border crisis for once and for all. And again, thanks be to God, we got President Trump leading the way and doing what the American people want. It's great to have somebody that cares more about the safety of our families. And, our AG's office, we've been working prosecuting dangerous criminal aliens across the state, human traffickers, fentanyl cartels. We just secured a lifetime conviction for a guy that was prostituting young girls. This is sick. It's got to end. We have to restore American sovereignty.
So as Florida's top law enforcement officer, are you going to be the one that's in charge of interviewing the alligators and I hope deputizing some of them?
They're more than volunteering in number. They're ready to go. We were thinking maybe call it Python Prison because there might be more pythons than alligators now in South Florida. But whatever it's called, we will deliver, we will get the job done, and we will help President Trump deliver on his mission.
Hey, Sean Hannity here.
That is so funny. It's funny and it's not funny. How many people are in agreement with Alligator Alcatraz. Is this making America more safer? Is this a better way to detain some of the people that have committed crimes against American citizens? Like, what is your viewpoint on this? And we do want to go to Trump before he's leaving to go to Alcatraz. He did a news conference like maybe an hour ago, so we do want to show that. But are you guys for this movement? Are you for it or against it? That's my question to you guys.
Guys, it's an East Coast version, and it should be very exciting, very good. Worked very hard on it with Ron and everybody, and I think it's going to be great. And then I'll be back here fighting for the bill, and I hear it's going okay. We'll move along. But we'll be back here pretty early.
What do you think of it? Do you think the president of the bill, you've been warning some Republicans not to go too crazy with the cuts. Are there parts of the bill or amendments that you think cut too much?
We're gonna have to see the final version. No, I don't want to go too crazy with cuts. I don't like cuts. There are certain things that have been cut, which is good. I think we're doing well. We're gonna have to see. It's very complicated stuff. Great enthusiasm, as you know, and I think in the end we're gonna have it. What do you think, Caroline? Yeah, I think.
Don't ride Mom Dami having such a hard time condemning the phrase globalizing intifada.
I think he's terrible. He's a communist. The last thing we need is a communist. I said there will never be socialism in the United States. Tell me a communist. So I think he's bad news. And I think I'm going to have a lot of fun with him, watching him, because he has to come right to this building to get his money. And don't worry, he's not going to run away with anything. I think frankly, I've heard he's a total nut job. I think the people of New York are crazy. If they go this route, I think they're crazy. We will have a communist for the first time, really, a pure, true communist. He wants to operate the grocery stores, the department stores. What about the people that are there? I think it's crazy.
What happened to Elon Musk?
Who?
What happened to Elon Musk?
Nothing. He's upset he's losing his EV mandate, and he's very upset about things, but he could lose a lot more than that. I can tell you right now. Hey, Elon can lose a lot more than that. We hope it's going to happen, and we're looking forward to happen sometime next week. We want to get our hostages back. You want to get the hostages back.
What if the big beautiful bill doesn't pass? You have to go through item by item by item and tax this stuff one at a time, or you just try again?
I think we're going to get there. It's tough. We're trying to break it down so it's really good for the country. Trying to get a lot for everybody. And it's a big bill. And smaller bills would have been easy, but they wouldn't have been as good. I think it's going to do okay.
And with the Alligator Alcatraz,
Yeah.
it's the idea that it does immigrant escape. They just get eaten by an alligator or a snake or something.
I guess that's the concept. This is not a nice business. I guess that's the concept. If snakes are fast, but alligators are, we're going to teach them how to run away from an alligator, okay? If they escape prison. How to run away. Don't run in a straight line. Run like this. And you know what? That's a good thing.
When are you going to talk to Ned Young about that Monday?
Well, he's coming here. We're going to talk about a lot of things. We're going to talk about the great success we had. I mean, we had an incredible, in Iran, we had an incredible success. Like really nobody's had in many, many years. That was a precision war strike. And the word obliteration can now be used because the Atomic Energy Commission said you can't even get into the place. It was demolished. It was really demolished. It was a great, brilliant strike, and how to go forward. We're also going to talk about Gaza. We want to get the rest. We got a lot of hostages back, but we're going to talk about Gaza. I don't know. I mean, we'll have to take a look. We might have to put Doge on Elon. You know what Doge is? Doge is the monster that might have to go back and eat Elon. Wouldn't that be terrible? He gets a lot of subsidies, Peter. But Elon's very upset that the EV mandate is going to be terminated. And you know what? When you look at it, not everybody wants an electric car. I don't want an electric car. I want to have maybe gasoline, maybe electric, maybe a hybrid, maybe someday a hydrogen. If you have a hydrogen car, it has one problem. It blows up, you know? So I'm going to give that one to Peter. You let Peter test them off. No hydrogen cars, and when they blow up, it's serious. They find you 5 blocks away. It's that good.
Talks going. Are there any countries we can expect to see before the July 9th deadline?
Everything's going well. Honestly, everything. It's just very complicated because it's very big, a lot of different areas. Look, the Republicans have their heart in it. The Democrats they just want to destroy a country. A Democrat wants to destroy the country. They won't vote on it. They don't vote on anything. This is the biggest tax cut in history. Everything is the biggest in history. It's the best bill we've ever had. We can't get one Democrat vote.
When do you think you'll get final? When do you think you'll get final?
Nice guy, Peter. What do you think? Very nice guy.
When do you think we'll get final passage of the bill?
Hopefully soon. Hopefully today, if we can. Final passage. When I say final, let's take Senate at a time, okay? But I think Senate could be today, and we go over to the House.
And what about Senator Murkowski? Is there any way to placate her?
Who knows? You tell me. You tell me. Is there? Alaska's done so well with me. There's never been a president better to Alaska than me. But it doesn't mean people appreciate it. Have a good time.
Yep.
Well, that's our president. He's on his way to Alcatraz, so I think he has arrived there. But you guys, thanks for joining us. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. I see all the joy and the love y'all showing towards the President of the United States of America. But anyway, do you guys want ICE to detain criminals, or do you feel as though that they should be set free? Like, what is the solution to what has happened inside of this country? There's unrest and there is lawlessness. So how do you feel as though that it should be handled? Like, what's going on? Because we can't have disorder and we can't allow people to commit crimes. And they've been catching and releasing people that have committed murder, rapes, and all sorts of crimes. But it seemed like the Democratic Party, which a lot of you are for the Democrats, they're fighting against apprehending. I've never seen this before. Fighting against apprehending criminals.
Get out of here with that due process.
With criminals.
You see the
and we're gonna show how Obama and all the other previous presidents have done the same thing, and they continue. They were all supporting this. This is what they were doing. So, and it's amazing when Trump is handed an open border situation that allow floods of people to enter the country. Drew. He's held more. I mean, it's like you don't even want to get MS-13 out.
Rico, why can't they get due process in their own country? Okay, I did a poll saying, do you support Alligator Alcatraz? 45% said yes and 55% said no.
Yeah, and the thing about it is, do you want a safe America or not? Do you want America? It seemed like people want America to become a third world country. We saw what happened in California, what's been happening in Portland, what's happening in Boston, all these cities, and especially New York. It's Gotham City, but there's no Batman. They're destroying these major cities, and people are fighting our law enforcement to stop them from arresting the criminals, which they have asked to go inside the prisons and apprehend them there. But the Democratic governors and mayors, they don't want that. So in the midst, anybody's coming to this country and cross those borders, they broke the law. We're going to have that understanding. They broke the law. We have laws like all the countries around the world. But people try to minimize laws, like that law is excusable, But these are the laws we need to keep. If anybody wants to become an American citizen, they have the opportunity to apply for citizenship like the rest of the world and like the United States. What the previous administration did, they had an agenda. It was not about the people, it was about votes. That's the only reason you will open up your borders and allow everyone to come in. And that what had happened, we had gotten everyone. Anytime you have countries emptying out their prisons and they came in here, the United States is not the same country it was 4 years ago. This is an entirely different country. We are not the same country. That's a fact. This country has changed. It has changed, and not for the better. Previous immigrants, prior to the open borders, those immigrants came in. They weren't burning our flags. They weren't disrespecting this country. They did come to work hard. They should have been applying for citizenship. I don't understand why would you be here 30 years and don't apply. You know, now you be at the back of the bus now because now you wait all this time and they got all these people that are here that will go before you when you should have done a long time ago. This country is not the same United States of America. Even the temperature has changed. We have more people who aren't citizens that's on our social medias, that's on at these rallies, that are being, and people being paid to be at some of these rallies. And we haven't had this type of unrest. We've always had protests. We've always had demonstrations, but it's a different temperature. But we never had any group of people, whether black, what we went through in the 60s, since we've been here 400 years, you've never seen the attack on law enforcement like what's going on now. We have changed. It's unrecognizable. And each day it's getting worse. It's not getting better. No one is working together. Instead of our parties, which I have voted for Democrats, and the first time I voted for Republican president. But I want our elected officials to work together. We're stronger together. I don't want the Democrats not to have any resolutions, and they just want the constituents to be angry, upset, mad, but no talking points. They don't even give you any substance. It's like, well, what are you going to do about high cost of living? What are you going to do about housing? What are you going to do about the economy, about jobs? They are not even held responsible to pass legislation. They're doing nothing. Their whole agenda is keeping your attention, just like the election, on Trump, while they are allowed to do nothing for this country. We need Congress working together for us, Americans. For us. How about that? We need them working for us and doing their damn job. They have an obligation to work together, to communicate, to speak, and put aside their differences and biases and think about us. Because it's not the same. We have different things going on in this country we never had to deal with. Like this open border situation that the previous administration wanted to ship in voters because that's what they were trying to do. Anytime you flying people in, you gave people an app to come in. They did everything to flood the gates of this country, and not with people that you would want coming into this country. Because if they committed murders in their country and now they're running around on our streets, they committed 15,000 convicted rapists, they're running around on our streets. They've been let out of mental institutions, they're running around out on our streets. All this stuff is going on. Everyone has come in, from Iranians, cartel, everybody is here. It's not the same country it was 4 years ago. We have problems that we haven't even begun to see yet. We haven't seen anything yet. So while y'all jumping up and down about these ICE agents, this is just the beginning of what could happen in this country because of what Biden's administration have done to this country. And y'all gonna find out. Then y'all be like, what the president gonna do? What are you gonna do about this? Because we have a lot here. And they've had 4 years to set up, to get organized and establish. And then when ICE try to arrest them, then they have a problem. They're fighting American citizens they're fighting them, along with people that we don't know who they are. That's a problem. If you can't arrest the bad guys, what's going on? Then they say, oh, well, Americans aren't, only Americans that have been arrested are the ones that are attacking these officers. Don't go out there. Don't attack. Let them do their job. Let them do their job. They're making the country safer, not less safe. They're trying to make it safer, and you have these people out here losing their mind that they're fighting for criminals. And yes, people are going to get swept up because people are getting involved. That's how they're getting arrested. Let them go into the prisons. Why don't you ask your leaders, the Democratic Party, because it's all in the sanctuary cities or in Democratic states. Why don't you ask your congressmen to allow them to go into prisons, and they won't be out on the street. Problem solved. Problem solved. They're committing crimes, and they're putting them back out on our streets. Let them go in, work together. Unless y'all just want to be angry, upset, and y'all don't want us to work together. It doesn't make any sense that people that we put in office are not required to work together. They're not required to do their job. Why is that? Y'all want this is like an endless situation here. We got problems in the United States that we never had to deal with. That's what we're dealing with now. And instead of y'all demanding for people to work together, because the president's going to be the president for 4 years. Get the memo. He's the only one, no matter how much you hate him, he's getting world situations, problems. Everybody looking for our president to handle the India-Palestine war that was escalating. They got nuclear abilities. He solved that. You got Russia and Ukraine, which Biden administration never even has spoken for the 3 years of that war. They never even brought the people together to even talk. Not until Trump. He supposed to solve that. Then he got the Iran and the Israel war, 12-day war, that he had to try to stop that. And now you have the Congo and Rwanda. They've been fighting for 30 freaking years. 6 million people have died. No president tried to tackle that or take that on. 6 million people. They said they had more casualties than World War II. That's what you call a genocide. They're in Trump's office signing some sort of treaty or whatever. I know those presidents, we will be filming that. They're coming to the White House this month. That's Trump. And meanwhile, he's handling all these wars. He only been in office like 5 months, mind you. He's brought trillions of dollars coming into our economy. Inflation is low. The economy is getting better. All the critics that said this and that about tariffs, well, it's working, y'all. And guess what? Nobody's capitalizing off the media should be capitalizing off the point that the border is closed. Where are y'all? The border is closed. Y'all act like it's no big deal now. Hundreds of thousands of people were coming in this country per month. Zero is coming in now, but y'all don't want to talk about that. When I vote, and my vote is precious, I want my congressmen and women working together. Don't forget to hit the like, share, and subscribe. We're a new channel, but we're going to be authentic. And my thing is being a leader, which I am. You're supposed to be a problem solver. They're not supposed to escalate problems. They're supposed to take a seat at the table, and they're supposed to come together, and they're supposed to work this. They're supposed to work it out. Work it out. We got to stop this fighting because a lot's going on that y'all don't want to admit. Y'all don't want to admit it. Y'all got so much Donald Trump syndrome, and I felt that way 4 years ago. His first election, 2016, when he got elected, I was like, oh my God, I thought it was the end of the world. But he had the better economy, no wars, higher black employment than his predecessors. How about that? And now this time, then I campaigned against him in 2020. I mean, boots on the ground, doing speeches, a leader, I'm a legislative director, leader, leading my group of people, phone banking, canvassing, rallies. I'm a professional rally organizer. I've done over 200, maybe 300. I don't know how many rallies. I stopped counting. That's who I am. I have pictures, videos with them, everything, with presidents and everything. I've been in the room. But last election, when I saw Kamala and Tampon Tim, I was like, hell no to the no. That's what was buffoonery. That was a joke. If she could be president, I could be president. Because that was a joke there. That was a joke. She would not be able to handle the pressure that man is dealing with internationally and internally. This country would be run over right now by non-citizens. And that's what's been going on. But we got to make demands of the people that are supposed to represent us. We got to make those demands. And I fault the American people for being so gaslighted and so angry. And even the Democrats that come on here, y'all know black people, that's 93% of us always vote Democrats. They don't have to give us shit. We just keep giving our vote and like it doesn't mean a damn thing. And that's why we don't get the respect, because they need to earn our votes. And I promise you, 2028, they think we're going to jump ship. We're not doing this. And we're waking up every day, every single day. But we got to stop the nonsense. Trump, he did land at, I want to go to it. He's not there yet. You know, they're waiting for him right now at Alcatraz, but he did land in Florida. And I don't know how you guys feel about it. How much did Elon say to you? Trump don't give a damn. Trump doing a damn good job. Yeah. People, it's amazing. No matter what, we have people doing nothing, and y'all are good with that. The Democratic Party, you can't tell me one damn thing that they have done for the American people. Not one thing. But they have y'all so gaslighted that y'all don't even notice it. I want Congress working together. It's not about red and blue. That's already been decided. We have our president. But everyone's supposed to come along and work together. If they don't agree with stuff, work it out. Work it out for us. For us. I'm tired of the pointing the finger and they're doing nothing for us. Work together for the American people. And as far as ICE, y'all need to let them do their job. Allow them to do their job. Y'all didn't stop all the previous presidents from doing their job. But now the country is in worse shape with the open borders that were allowed to happen. Joe Biden will go down in history as the worst president that has ever existed as long as we've had a country. Because what he's done is going to affect us for decades to come. And when more of them start acting out and acting up, and y'all going to see just how bad it really is. These are not the same immigrants from years ago that came in the last 4 years. They feel entitled. They have a entirely different mindset. They're not here flying our flags proudly and grateful. They've been given everything. They've been given more. They are prioritized over American citizens. They're taking care of more than we are. How about that? Democrats, independents, non-voters, and Republicans should know they are prioritized. They've been given free housing. They came here homeless off of our taxpayer dollars. They've been given subsidies that we can't get. And y'all jumping up and down. And these people are so disrespectful to what has happened. They online talking about we don't even like her. Y'all stupid. Talking about we're stupid. Y'all think we came here for baseball and baseball and hot dogs? No. We came here because the moolah, the money. Y'all pay more. We get more money from y'all. But our food is better. Everything's better. They online saying that. Meanwhile, we're paying for college. We're paying for college for them. We're paying for housing, luxury housing. We're feeding them. They're getting some get $13,000 a month with SNAP or whatever. They're getting health care. Go to emergency and see that it's filled in hallways with them. You can't get to see your doctor. Go to your doctor office and see who's in there. That's all off of us. They got Medicare, Social Security. They've been here 4 years. And then they tell us the kids stay behind? Are you kidding me? Y'all out there riling and acting a fool and want to stop our law officials from doing their job. Y'all gonna come to our country and want to stop our law enforcement from doing their job. Go to China and try that. Go to Russia and go to Russia and try that. I want you to go to Russia and do that. Take over Russia. Go somewhere else and try and see if you go to North Korea and try that. Go any of Germany and try that. Y'all gonna take over and make demands when you're not even supposed to be here. You broke the law. You are illegally here, which makes you a criminal. They are criminals. They are supposed to apply for citizenship. Period. We can't afford them. Y'all don't understand that. Your government is telling y'all we got how much debt? How many trillions of dollars worth of debt? 16 trillion? Y'all think that's a cake in the park? We have no money. We're broke. We have no money for them. And then when it comes to taking care of America's citizens, where are they? When it comes to taking care of us, it's nothing for you. So anyway, here goes Trump landing. Thank God ain't American. All lost it, y'all. Yeah.
Hello, everybody. The trip was nice, and the job they've done is fantastic. And this is what you need. And Ron worked beautifully with Christie and all of the people at Homeland Security, and got it done in how many days, Ron?
8 days, a new facility was up and running. So,
Is this a model going forward, Mr. President?
It can be. I mean, you don't always have land so beautiful and so secure. They have a lot of bodyguards and a lot of cops that are in the form of alligators. You don't have to pay them so much. But I wouldn't want to run through the Everglades for long. It will keep people where they're supposed to be. This is a very important thing. We're setting records at the board. You know, we had no people come through last month. Zero, no people. But we're going to keep it that way. So Ron did great, and I want to thank you.
well, look, we thank you, Mr. President. Thanks for your leadership. The border, you did that quicker than we knew you'd do it, but you did it so quick, which is great. But Biden let in how many millions, and you got to take care of them. And so this is one example of state operating this. The feds are approving it, supporting it. We're also going to have 2,000 more at Camp Blanding, which is our National Guard site. And we're the only state in the country that mandates our state and locals, law enforcement, to cooperate with ICE. And it's made a huge difference. On any given day, Florida constitutes about 20% of all immigration arrests nationwide.
Okay, that's their broadcast.
What I would just say is, don't let Florida be the only state. We've got very red states that should be doing this just as much as Florida's doing. That will increase their numbers.
Yeah.
And then what happens is, you'll have a lot of people that will deport on their own because they don't want to end up in an Alligator Alcatraz or some of those other places. So I think this is a model, but we need other states to step up.
I was going to ask you, would this be enticing for other states to come up with their own model?
They are doing it. We have Louisiana doing it, big Alabama's doing it. We have a lot of states, they seem to be red states, and not too many blue states, for whatever reason, you know. But the red states, Republican-run states, are doing it. The blue states don't do very well at security and policing, unfortunately. What would you say, Wilson?
You know, I would say that exactly right. The governor here has been fantastic in forming this partnership with the Department of Homeland Security. We were looking at different contracts with different vendors and thought, why not go straight to our governors and ask them to help us solve this problem? Florida was unique in what they presented to us, and I would ask every other governor to do the exact same thing. This is unique because we can hold individuals here, they can have their hearings, get due process, and then immediately be flown back home to their home countries. And their home countries are welcoming them. They're setting up loans for houses, they've got food assistance, they're helping to facilitate welcoming them home. I just got home from Panama, Costa Rica, Guatemala, Honduras, and they're all excited about getting their individuals back home from the United States. So
There was a lot of self-reporting. That's one thing I was actually surprised, but a lot of self-reporting. I flew over the Everglades.
Yeah, I don't know why they're freezing.
That's a big piece of land. It took us 25 minutes to fly around. Is there potential for enlargement or additional facilities out here?
There may be. I mean, I think what we're doing is, because this is an important part of Florida, we're using the existing footprint of this airport. So when you guys go over there, you'll see all the beds, the medical, the galley, everything is on the concrete. We're not using any of the other stuff. Now, as you'll see, there's a lot of concrete, so there very well may be. I know Secretary Noem and her team have said as soon as the president departs, we'll be open to start receiving folks. And so we'll see what the tempo is. We do have the 2000 in Northeast Florida that will open very soon. So it is possible to do. One of the things I think that is exciting about this is we're offering up our National Guard and other folks in Florida to be deputized to be immigration judges. We're working with the Department of Justice for the approvals. I'm sure Pam will approve. But then I'll have a National Guard judge advocate here. Someone has a notice to appear. Biden would tell them to come back in 3 years and appear. Now you'll be able to appear in like a day or two, so they're not going to be detained hopefully for all that long. We'll have people here in this facility that can make, it's a bureaucracy. The president's got to deal with the bureaucracy. Now that Supreme Court ruling was good because that's going to allow him to be able to exercise Article 2 the way the founders intended, but you still have bureaucracy. So we want to cut through that so that we have an efficient operation between Florida and DHS to get the removal of these illegals done.
Are you going after the worst of the worst, or are you now arresting anyone this year?
We're doing the worst of the worst always first.
Yes.
And I think it's great government, what we've done. And nobody can ever forget what this group of people, Biden or whoever it was, because probably wasn't even Biden, I don't think he knew what that was. Biden, whoever it was, what this group of people, a small group that circled the Resolute desk, what they did to this country. Think of it, all the time you have to waste doing this. It's an unforced error. We had nothing. We had no problem with this. There was never anything like.
Yeah, his is freezing. His interview. He's saying a lot. I don't know. Gulf of America. God bless America.
It's like an unforced error, yes.
Mr. President, in 2018, you suggested putting alligators in the Rio Grande to prevent crossings in Texas. Is this a dream come true for you, sir?
Well, I was thinking about that, I must say. It was meant more as a joke, but the more I thought of it, the more I liked it, if you want to know the truth. And they were seriously, they were actually crocodiles. They were crocodiles from Africa. They are a step beyond. But no, that was really meant as a joke, but a lot of people liked it. And a lot of people think we should do it, frankly.
The Senate appears is about to vote on
I
the
hear we're doing
bill.
well, Ron. I hear we're doing well.
Are you confident this can get
I don't know, confident. What does confident mean when you're like, when you have one vote and you have 100 people going to vote? I think so. I think it's going to be the greatest bill ever passed, even for you as an example. Tremendous amount of Homeland Security money. Oh, tremendous amount. It's going to keep the border secure because, we have them secure now, but we need to build more wall. I built almost 600 miles of wall. We need more wall. And all of that's covered in this bill. This bill is amazing for everybody. It's an amazing bill for Florida, too. Really great for Florida.
Are you concerned about the Medicaid, though, cuts, though?
No, we're not going to be playing with Medicaid. Only waste, fraud, and abuse. Yeah, the Democrats have it wrong. Yeah, waste, fraud, and abuse. In fact, if you look at what's gone on, we've gone way back. We take care of Medicaid. We take care of Medicare. They will blow Medicare and Medicaid because they have no idea what they're doing. Just like they don't have any idea what they did on the border, they have no idea. Medicaid is in big trouble with the Democrats.
Anyone who loses their health care coverage, that is because of waste, fraud, and abuse.
Waste, fraud, only waste, fraud, and abuse, which is what everybody wants.
President, Russia has about 50,000 troops stationed outside of Sumy in Ukraine. What will you do if Russia authorizes an offensive?
We'll see what happens.
He's going to tell you.
Mr. President? About Prime Minister Netanyahu's visit next week, what are you hoping to get out of that? And do you think there'll be any progress?
It's going to be a very quick celebration. We had a great hit. It was a obliteration. Okay, now it turns out it wasn't an obliteration. You know, they demean CNN mostly and the New York Times, fake New York Times. They demean these great soldiers. They went over there 17 hours flying, and they hit bullseye after bullseye after bullseye. It all blew up. Everybody saw it. Then they get back, and CNN said, well, they did okay, but maybe it wasn't. Let me tell you, it was beyond obliteration. They can't. Nobody can even get down there. The tunnels are busted. Everything fell into the well. It was a total and complete obliteration, and we should celebrate these heroes. And what I'm doing is I'm bringing them, Ron. We're bringing them to Florida or to the White House. I gave them their choice. I think they're going to take the White House. Probably. I can tell you this.
Mr. President, there's going to be a new bill called Make American Elections Great Again, forcing the U.S. Census Bureau to redo the census to actually get an account of how many Americans with proof of citizenship are in our area, in our country, redistricting some of the House districts. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I'll speak for both of us. We love it. You like this one. I know all about it. We want to bring our elections back. The election in 2020 was rigged, millions and millions of votes. It had to do with COVID and a lot of things, but it really had to do with the crooked people. The Democrats are very good at cheating in elections. And that's why I said too big to rig. They tried this one too. But after about 9:02, they gave up too many votes. Too big to rig. Ron would love it. I would love it. Christie would love it. That's what they have to do. They have to bring it back. And we have to look, Ron, they include anybody that happens to be in your state.
Well, California would lose like 5 seats if they did a fair census. And even beyond that, the Biden census gypped Florida of at least 1 seat. We only got 1 seat in the last census. Are you trying to tell me that Florida only had 1 seat in that? We should have had at least 2. Texas should have had another one. That could be the difference in the House of Representatives and the majority. So I would love for them to redo the census for 26. My legislature will redistrict those lines. We'll get it to where it's fair. But as it's right now, this country is not fairly apportioned. I've got so many more millions of people in Florida that have representation because of that flawed census.
I think it's going to do very well. A lot of people, I don't know if you've heard about it, it's captivated the country. Everybody wants it. It's going to get in, it's going to pass, and we're going to be very happy.
Elon Musk is ripping into this bill again. Are you concerned that Republicans are going to be swayed by Musk and his money?
No, I don't think so. I think what's going to happen is Doge is going to look at Musk. And if Doge looks at Musk, we're going to save a fortune. Thank you very much, everybody. I don't think you should be playing that game with me.
Mr. President, July 9th guidelines.
Thank you very much.
Wow.
Thank you, Mr. President.
That was a lot. Trump is not, I love one thing that I do respect about him is that at least he's a working president. It's so refreshing to see someone trying to do something, whether you agree with everything or not. But I think that we got a lot coming our way because we're just ignorant. Can you do this, Elijah? We're just ignorant to what's going on in this country. This is not the same United States of America. It has changed. The last 4 years, what is going on now is a different climate, a different temperature. The people are actually losing their minds. Even when Biden, all the stuff he did with that administration, with open borders, high inflation, economy, crazy, 2 wars, all this stuff was going on. Nobody was protesting. No one was out in the streets. There weren't anyone that was out there having just, throwing up their fists against what was happening.
Brent, you say that. You know how many people Obama deported?
I'm going to put that, look for the upload later on. I'm going to upload everything that y'all saying about Trump, Obama did without all of this. And so did Bill Clinton, so did the other presidents. So look for that upload. It's going to be a shorter video that, people can just go watch in, 10, 20 minutes or less. But I'm going to put a video up because it showed just how, when it comes to Trump, how now everyone is against the same ideas that they were saying, the same things that they were doing, the exact same conversations that they were doing. So it's incredible. It's incredible. What are you saying? That's not it.
This is it.
Oh.
And we're just taking tours through the areas where they stay and the areas where the medical is and all. And they've really done between Christy and Ron and the whole.
They call it
Standing around
Obama,
and not knowing where we are. And we're just taking tours through the areas where they stay and the areas where the medical is and all. And they've really done between Christy and Ron and the whole group. It's really government working together.
That's how it's supposed to be. Government working together. How about that?
Waiting for us.
Put that on a sign.
How was it? Right? It really is.
Government working
Did
together.
they take the vote yet? How's the vote going? I would normally be home waiting for the vote.
Yes, we would.
Or be in Congress, but I wanted to come down. I hear the vote's going to be good. So you'll let me know. You'll let me know.
I will let
Have
you
they
know.
taken it yet?
What's that?
They're taking it now?
I don't think they're people yet. Not concluded, but they are.
Boy, wouldn't that be an upset, huh?
Are you confident that this can get through the House? And is there any wiggle room under July 4th?
It's the greatest tax cut in the history of our country. And if it doesn't pass, it's the biggest tax increase in the history of our country. That alone, 68% increase, as opposed to a massive cut. It's the biggest
amazing
tax
how
cut in the history of our country.
A party can gaslight people to stupidity.
CNN
To actual stupidity.
that lets you track where ICE agents are. Tom Homan was saying that perhaps CNN should be prosecuted for that. As obstruction of law enforcement. Your response?
Yeah, we're working with the Department of Justice to see if we can prosecute them for that, because what they're doing is actively encouraging people to avoid law enforcement activities, operations, and we're going to actually go after them and prosecute them with a partnership of PAM if we can, because what they're doing we believe is illegal.
And they may be prosecuted also for having given false reports on the attack in Iran. They were given totally false reports. It was totally obliterated, and our people have to be celebrated, not come home and say, what do you mean we didn't hit the target? We hit the target first. The pilots came home and they said we hit the target first. So they may be very well prosecuted for that. What they did there we think is totally illegal. Okay, let's go. Follow us. You're right. You're right.
Oh, really? He works for who?
He works for
Real America's Voice. Oh, okay, good.
You think it's easy being with one?
I think I could take the meat.
She was working out pretty hard.
Yes, she was.
Now, 1 in 32 versus 1 in 20,000 1 year. Autism. So it was one in 20,000 20 years ago. Now it's, I heard 1 in 16 in California. 1 in 16.
That's good.
There's something. I think Bobby's going to be good. Thank you for listening. Down there.
This is our team, our pharmacist, and our nurse practitioner. They actually did all the work. Nice to meet you too. Thank you guys for doing those. Thank you for your work.
You got how many days to do it?
We actually just have 24 hours.
24 hours.
I was relentless.
This is like a monoclonal antibody clinic on steroids. We did the monoclonal.
Guess they're trying to get in front of them. What are they doing? They look like they're in a cloud. I don't know what they're doing. They look like they're in a cloud. I think they try to run them off. Look at this. They're in a, that cameraman is doing a horrible job. I don't know. They need to fire him because I don't know what he called himself doing, but he looked like he's in a cloud. So we're waiting for the Senate. I don't know what that was all about. Go to the library. He's trying to get in front of what? Nah, dog. No, you could have did just with my library. I already got stuff set up there.
Oh.
Was that Forbes?
Forbes is live too about it.
Was that what we was just on?
Oh, we were on the New York Post.
See, they're still waiting. They're waiting for Trump. I guess he's going to have a meeting here. They were trying to, I guess, get in front of Trump. I don't know what that was all about. I really need to be able to do both. Because I don't know what that was, what they were doing. We got to do better as Americans. We need to take back our country and have some values. Like the stuff that's going on in the last few years is unacceptable. And it's just so unimaginable how many people are losing their minds and they're up for all this nonsense. It's crazy. This is ridiculous. People don't want any law. That's what they're saying. They want our country to be overrun by non-citizens. They want all criminals to be allowed to do what they want to do. And then they want us to pay for it. That's the new America, United States of America. This is what happens when you give people everything. That's why there's no respect for this country, is because so much has been given to them that they don't even respect us at all. There is no respect at all when it comes to United States of America. And you have the audacity to have United States citizens. Like I've always voted for Democrats. And it's just amazing. I had no idea that my party was so gaslighted and just like you're far from being right and don't even see it.
I made over $200,000 at 16 through affiliate marketing, dude. You're talking to the right one. I've made a lot of money. I was making $1,000 a day.
It doesn't make any sense at all. Doesn't make any sense. Oh, wow. Yeah, it is just amazing. It is just amazing. You know, the mindset of what's going on now in this country. You know, I'm so shocked to see the behaviors of our fellow countrymen. Not yet. I'm shocked. They're going to get ready to come on there. I'm shocked to see the behavior of our countrymen. It's like really people feel like the rest of the world, like the people that came to the White House the other day, everybody's coming to meet with President Trump. They're like he was the president since November the 5th. All the leaders was responding to him because we had no leadership.
The New York Post is showing him for Christie Nolan and Desantis.
Yeah, they were doing such a horrible job. Like the camera was everywhere. I don't know what that reporter was doing, but it was too much going on. So we'll just wait for him to come back on when he's going to talk. And I'm just so surprised that we're not making more demands that's going to benefit us as our countrymen. And we cannot have people coming into our country overriding our law enforcers. We can't have that because they don't allow us to do it here. They don't allow us to do it. You try hitting a cop. I don't care what ethnicity you are in America. You try punching a cop in the head, hitting a cop, and doing everything, blowing up cop cars, throwing rocks and bricks. You do that as an American and see how much time you wind up in jail.
As a black American.
As any ethnicity. You try doing what they have done. You try it. You try doing it. Assaulting a police officer. You try doing it. Because there's different rules for Americans. Y'all know that, right? Because they're in sanctuary cities. So they have different laws for them. Then they want to be American, but they don't follow American laws. And there's different allowances for them that we don't have. Because, you know, the Democratic Party made sure that they gave them precedence over American citizens.
See, the thing is, a lot of people need to think for themselves and not let the media think for them. You know, and there's a lot of different people who you're letting the media think for you and you're not thinking for yourself. Me and my mom are thinking for ourselves. That's why we're doing the opposite of what our race typically does, being for a Republican President Trump.
And you know what? Cry me a freaking river.
What?
When they talk about it's sad to see somebody from different, look, we've been here 400 years. Have they? Did they? We've been the only enslaved people. Have they? Well, did they built this country off of enslaving black people, off of our backs. Yeah. They got more reparations than we got. They got everything that we've been asking for. Okay? So I'm not going to stay on that train of freaking Democratic train when they've been in power for the 12 of the last 16 years. Let's just start with that. What have they done for black Americans? They could have, they were in power. What have they done for us? Did we get an anti-hate crime bill? That's why I campaigned so hard for Biden. You can see me on previous videos. I'm talking with him and welcoming him into my city and all of that. I got selfies with these people. I have receipts and all these different Congress people and all of that. They haven't done nothing for us. They haven't been through what we've been through. But they've been given everything, and we're supposed to feel sorry. They ripped our families. They ripped us from our ancestors. Our children got ripped from their mothers and chained and sold into slavery. They worked the field sun up to sun down. They were given the worst of the worst. They didn't even want to educate because education is power. It's power. But this is 2025 now. So I don't want to hear about they can come into the country legally. Nobody is against immigrants. Period. That's the freaking gaslighting. They all keep trying to gaslight us. Apply for citizenship. That's what you do. You want to be an American, apply for citizenship. Anyone can apply. Put in your application. So don't talk about, they should feel, no. They haven't been through what we have been through. Okay? And these people that are in office, the Democratic leadership, have done nothing for black Americans. All they want to do is keep us suppressed, keep us on welfare, keep us like we're, down and out. We're not down and out. We got more millionaires than next to none. The rest of it, compare our millionaires and billionaires. We are astronauts, engineers, doctors, lawyers, entrepreneurs. We are phenomenal.
It's sad the ones that have been waiting years to come into the American legally.
The ones that have been waiting for years, they on the back burner because the people have come in. The people that have come in don't respect us. There's no respect for this country because when you give a child everything, guess how they gonna act?
Kayla, why do you say that when President Trump's the one who did the First Step Act and gave money to HBCU so they don't have to
They don't do their homework.
Yeah.
And Biden locked us up. Y'all don't know that, right?
They're saying we're for the one that's against us.
Biden. We were stupid. Because we don't look at policy and we don't research the candidates. And none of us should have voted for that goddamn Biden. He was the author of the 1994 crime bill. He called us super predators. He said they're beyond the pale. Lock them up. They're beyond rehabilitation. And that's exactly what these freaking judges have been doing and still do. That was him. And we ran to the polls to put that racist in office, including myself.
He basically said we had no soul.
Including myself.
You heard me?
Tell me you ain't black unless you vote for me. And that person, I'm trying to be kind.
Scumbag.
Had the audacity, what he did when you to our people, when you remove a father out of the household, what do you think happens to the family? What that's how you keep a family down and suppressed. What do you think happened to our families? Mothers are just at work and then the streets have our kids. Then our children go before the judge. And that's slavery because they like, oh, he just 18 years old. I could get 30 years. 30 years for petty crimes. That's what they've been doing to us. So we don't want to hear it because they've been in office and they have done nothing for us.
Didn't Biden go to the KKK member's funeral?
Yeah, he did the eulogy for the grand wizard of the KKK, Biden. And Kamala, she locked us up too. She over sentencing us.
Then he gets a single black dad.
Democrats. And Trump comes along. He does the First Step Act that Obama didn't do. Couldn't get done. Biden sure as hell wasn't going to do it.
Obama did nothing for black people.
Look at what Trump did. Google what Trump has done for the black community. Y'all would change your tune. And then talking about Black Lives Matter, 6 million black people have been killed for the last 30 years with the war in Rwanda and Congo. Trump is the one that's bringing that to an end. How did the Democrats do that?
Caleb,
they wouldn't even listen.
Caleb, you need to educate yourself because DEI actually benefits white women.
It's diversity, equity, inclusion. They gaslight, put a black face on DEI, and we're the last high with DEI. This is crazy. Y'all don't research nothing. DEI benefited white women, followed by Hispanics, Latinos, Asians, disabled, indigenous, seniors, veterans, and then black people. We were number 9 on the freaking list, but they want to show you, oh, DEI is not a black thing, but we're the face of it. Yeah. White women are the face of DEI, and that's the truth.
You guys can look this up too.
And we the last to benefit. Every other ethnicity benefited more than black people. So we don't want to hear that bunch of malarkey, like Biden would say. That's a bunch of malarkey. They don't want it. It's okay. The truth will set you free, but you're going to find out. Research, research, research. Research. Find out for yourself. God says people perish for lack of knowledge. And that's what's happened to my race. Perish for lack of knowledge. Gotta freaking do our research. We're lazy. I wish they care about American prisons as much as they do about a detained center for illegal immigrants. They don't do nothing about American prisoners. They got better conditions there than American prisoners.
They're going to sweep this 6 times to make sure there's nothing that can be used for contraband or weapons before the detainees come in.
See what I mean? It's an amazing job. They've all done a great job. Proud of them.
Mr. President, Mr. Governor, what's the message to Governor Gavin Newsom inside of this facility?
Well, the first thing you should do is come here and learn something. Because they don't do this. They don't know. They wouldn't know where to begin, and if they did, it would cost them 100 times more. So I would say he should call the governor and Christie, and I'm sure you could give him because his state is a disaster, and he doesn't do this.
Well, they have the original Alcatraz, so you guys could approve him being able to set one of these up over there. I'm sure the secretary would be happy to do that. And provide my sense is he's probably not going to fight on that, but I don't know that they'd be able to come in at cost because they tried to do this high-speed rail. They spent like $150 billion, no tracks. We've got a privately funded rail in Florida from Miami to Orlando. It costs the taxpayer $0, and it's very successful. So it's just a much different approach between states.
We're not going to let him get anywhere near Alcatraz. And it costs 100 times more than that. Now, he ought to come here and study this because he can learn a lot.
Yes, the first person checking into the room, sir.
Tomorrow?
Hopefully tomorrow, within the next 24 hours.
They have the doctors, they have all the professionals.
There's going to be a security sweep because there have been civilians here, so they will sweep this multiple times to make sure there's nothing can be used as weapons or any contraband. And then once that's cleared, and they'll do, so it's really up to Secretary. I know he's got people in the queue, and so they'll be ready to receive.
I think our viewers at home should know that this is air-conditioned facility, so if any of the ladies are keeping them out in the hot, humid South Florida, that is wrong. It's probably 62 degrees here.
To be honest. Hey, Biden wanted me in here, okay? That's it. He wanted me. It didn't work out that way, but he wanted me in here.
What's your expectation of what this will do for the speed and force of deportations?
Things, and they're both telling me that these people come in here, they want to go home. And they want to go home, so we immediately send them home. Where it's appropriate. Now, if somebody's a real killer, we don't send them anywhere, wherever that maximum security. Look, what we inherited from this guy, this incompetent man, and his administration, which wasn't incompetent, it was radical left, lunatic, communist, whatever you want to say. I know most of them. What we inherited should never, ever be forgotten. What they've made us do. This is all because of an open border policy.
That's right.
25 million people flowed in. From all over the world, from prisons, from all over the world they flowed in. For no reason whatsoever. We had, when I left, we had a very powerful border. We had no problem. He opened it up. Day one, he just opened the border. People couldn't believe it. They were standing there. What are they doing? They said, go in. That's it. You look at the first day tapes. They opened it up and they said, go in. And that's where all of this began. But this is an amazing thing that they've done here.
But listen, people don't have to come here. If they self-deport and
go home, they can come back legally. We will let them come back
So
legally.
There is a lot of self-deportation.
But if you
People
wait
would believe
and we bring you to this facility, you don't ever get to come back to America. You don't get the chance to come back and be an American again and work here. So.
They weren't with us when the President and the Secretary Kevin and I, we went through the intake. So right when you do the intake, they have the information about voluntary departure. They have the ability, obviously you guys are funding that because it's a lot cheaper to do it that way. So even if they get brought to the front doorstep here, they still have an opportunity to just go back voluntarily. And then this way they're not.
Let's say you're gonna be like, hey, I want to stay here, I want to go back.
We can put them on a plane that day and take them home. We'll buy their plane ticket and go home, and then they get the chance to come back legally. If they wait and
If
say
they
we're not
do
gonna
that, they can come back legally after a period.
Yeah.
Finding some way to get farm workforce and service sector workforce. And I think you've discussed somehow a program of people leaving on a sponsorship and coming right back. Can you give us a little more detail about that and why, in the view of some hardliners, it's not
Take
happening?
care of the farmers and hotel workers and various other people, and we're working on it right now, and Ron's gonna be involved, and you're involved already. So we have a lot of cases where ICE will go into a farm, and these guys working there for 10, 15 years, no problem.
Been
The
here.
farmers know, we're gonna put what is called
Been
farmer
here.
responsibility, or owner responsibility, where they're gonna be largely responsible for these people, and they know these people. They've worked on the farms for 15 years, and all of a sudden, so I have a great, Ron does, Christy does, we have a great feeling for the farmer, and for others in the same position, and we're gonna give them responsibility for people. And we're gonna have a system of signing them up, so they don't have to go, they can be here legally, they can pay taxes and everything else. They're not getting citizenship, but they get other things. And the farmers need them to do the work. Without those people, you're not gonna be able to run your farm.
Mr. President, you and the governor tangled pretty hard in the 2024 election, yet you stand here now. You stand here now as partners on this effort. How would you describe the relationship, and what future does Governor Desantis have?
I think it's a 10. Maybe 9-9, because there might be a couple of little wounds. So maybe it's not. I think we have a 10. We get along great.
Well, the thing about it is, I endorsed him immediately in January 2024. I raised one of his PACs millions and millions of dollars, and obviously we saved him a lot of money in Florida because Florida was a deep red state. He didn't even have to do a rally in Florida, whereas 2016 and 20, this was like ground zero. And so we've been, really happy to do that. And then we worked very well on this and other issues with Florida. You can call him at any time, and he wants to be helpful for governors. I mean, I can tell you that. We did Hurricane Helene last year. You didn't hear from the president at the time but with President Trump, we know immediately, just make the phone call.
Follow-up question, I'm sorry, like another thing you inherited. How firm are you going to be with Netanyahu about ending the war in Gaza?
Very firm, but he wants it to. I will say, he's coming here next week.
Wow.
He wants to end it too. We had a tremendous success with Iran. They weren't happy. Somebody said, when are you going to sign?
Wow. It's amazing what's going on. Trump is the guy. He is truly the guy, and we are so thankful. Yeah. How you guys doing today? This is a lot. I must say, I'm trying to recognize America. I just see that in such a short span of time that we become a different country. It's like amazing to see where we are now. We inherited this problem in 2025. If they had never opened up the borders, we wouldn't have the problem at this level. It wouldn't even be like this. But when you open up the borders, they cause all these problems. They cause a bigger deficit. They did not even serving the American people. And American people don't even realize that they haven't been serving us. So it's like terrible. It is really terrible what's been happening. But sometimes it's going to get, worse before it gets better. Because I don't even think that we have seen the full, result of that former administration. We got a lot going on in this country.
Oh, he's sitting down now.
We got a lot going on in this country.
I don't think this court works.
there's a lot going on in this country, and you got it to your place. Yeah, it's a lot going on in this country, and that's the worst thing about it. What's happening now? I am so kind of having a difficult time today. And, just excuse me. It's been like so much technical difficulty, and it's hard to do a stream when there's so much that's going on.
Thank everybody for the incredible job they've done. I love the state. As you know, Ron and I have had a really great relationship for a long time. We had a little off period for a couple of days, but it didn't last long. It didn't last long, and a lot of respect for each other. And it's a great honor to be deep in Florida, the Florida Everglades, to open America's newest migrant detention center. It's incredibly built, and you're seeing that yourself. That's why I said, let the press join us on our walk so they can see what's happening. It's known as Alligator Alcatraz, which is very appropriate because I looked outside and it's not a place I want to go hiking anytime soon. But very soon this facility will house some of the most menacing migrants, some of the most vicious people on the planet. We're surrounded by miles of treacherous swampland, and the only way out is really deportation. And a lot of these people are self-deporting back to their country where they came from. Quite a few. Were amazed at actually the number. We took the FEMA money that Joe Biden allocated to pay for the free luxury hotel rooms, where he's paying hundreds of millions of dollars in New York City, and we used it to build this project. And Narana was just a little fraction of that money. The money they spent on that project, I happen to know the real estate developer. He's a very wealthy. He never really made that much, but he became very wealthy. With luxury, he didn't do well. With people that are not exactly luxury, he's made a fortune. I want to thank Florida Governor Ron Desantis and Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem, and Florida Attorney General James Uthmeyer. Where is James? Where is he? You do a very good job. I hear good things. I hear good things about you from Ron too. No, you really do. He's even a good-looking guy. That guy's got a future, huh? Good job, James. I hear you did really, really fantastic. Worked hard. You're like in the construction business for a few days, right? Congratulations. For all the hard work and to make this facility possible. It's amazing. Thanks as well to Florida Agricultural Commissioner Wilton Simpson. Where is Wilton? Where are you? Hi, Wilton. Been a long time. Thank you. Congressman Byron Donalds. Where's Byron? Hi, Byron. How are you? Good. Florida Speaker of the House, Daniel Perez. Daniel? Daniel, thank you, Daniel. Why, you didn't want to sit up here with us, Daniel? Executive Director of the Florida Division of Emergency Management, Kevin Guthrie. Hi, Kevin. Good job. Acting Director of ICE, Todd Lyons. Todd, great job. And Senator Joe Gruters. He is a great guy. Where is Joe? We love Joe. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Joe. Joe is great. With the help of those incredible Border Patrol agents, we now have the lowest level of daily border crossings ever recorded. As you know, last month, the month of May, just got released 2 days ago, the number of illegal aliens into the United States was zero. Zero. Even I find that hard to believe. Somebody must have gotten it, I think. I don't know, but they say zero. And the people that count them are radical left Democrats. So when a radical left Democrat tells me it's zero, I believe him. But there's still much work to do. In the 4 years before I took office, Joe Biden allowed 21 million people, that's a minimum, I think it was much higher than that, illegal aliens to invade our country. He invaded our country just like a military would invade. It's tougher because they don't wear uniforms, you don't know who they are. More than the populations of New York City, Los Angeles, Chicago, Houston, Phoenix, and Philadelphia combined.
God.
That's what came into our country from prisons,
Wow.
from mental institutions, from street gangs, drug dealers. Disgusting. This enormous country-destroying invasion has swamped communities nationwide with massive crime, crippling costs, and burdens far beyond what any nation could withstand. No nation could withstand what we did. And we're in the process of doing it, but we have some great people doing it now, and you see them up here with me. But it's, I'd call it like an unforced era. It's sort of like men and women sports. It's sort of like transgender for everybody. How could they have done this to our country? And we're never going to forget it. Last year, 15% of all the hotel rooms in New York City were used to house illegal aliens at costs that they never got for luxury. They never got this much for luxury people coming in from the wealthiest places on earth. They made more money with the illegal immigrants, with many rooms costing more than $300 a night, 6 times the rent of a typical American family. In Denver, Colorado, the city was forced to cut $10 million from its police and fire department budget as part of a $90 million plan to house illegal aliens. And it's a population that's growing and growing and destroying Denver and growing, and again, it's destroying Denver, and it's destroying many other cities too. Likewise, one of the city's largest hospital system is drowning in unpaid medical bills, unpaid in the billions, after their emergency rooms were flooded with tens of thousands of illegals, leading to the closure of critical services. And these are really critical services. They can't even keep them open for American patients. The American patients were treated worse than any illegal immigrant. In Los Angeles, 1 in every 4 students in the public school system is from a household headed by an illegal, and most of them don't speak English. So they're in a school system and they don't have interpreters, they don't have anything, they don't speak English. What a mess, what a mess. Unforced error, all these people allowed to come in. The United States is now spending $78 billion a year on translation. Okay, wow. Think of that, $78 billion a year on translation, and smaller numbers on special education programs for non-English speakers in our public schools. So $78 billion, I think that's not a mistake. I would say $1 million maybe, hundreds of thousands of dollars, $78 billion, Joe, on translators and non-English speaking work. Federal government, the Justice Department, it's more than twice the cost of maintaining the United States Justice Department, what we're spending on translation and other things to help. In total, the average illegal alien costs American taxpayers an estimated $70,000. That's each, $70,000. I think that number is even low. If you care about balancing the budget, the single most impactful step we can take is to fully reverse the Biden migration invasion. One of the worst invasions we've ever had. We've never had an invasion like this. We've had invasions, but we've taken care of them. We've never had an invasion like this, and it's with us. And we have some very bad people out there looking to do big harm. That's why the One Big Beautiful Bill includes funding for 3,000 new Border Patrol officers and 10,000 new ICE agents. And I've gotten to know the Border Patrol and ICE very well. Unlike Kamala, she was the border czar, but she never saw the border. She never made one phone call. She was some border czar. She would have been some president. Probably would have been slightly better than Biden, though. I had to run against both of them, you know? The one guy, it's like a fighter. You knock out the one guy who's doing badly, then they put somebody else in, but fortunately she was a stiff also. Otherwise, I would have been very angry. I would have been extremely angry. The heroes of ICE will also help round up and remove members of the savage drug cartels, which are coming back into our country. And we got them out. Now some of them came back in. We just got them out again, and that's going to be a vicious cycle. But these are foreign gangs. They're horrendous people, killers, that have infiltrated our territory, including 8 which we have designated as foreign terrorist organizations, which gives us a lot more power for speed and getting them out much easier. And we had a great court victory, as you know, on Friday that allows us to do what we have to do from the Supreme Court of the United States. In 5 months, my administration has already arrested over 2,700 members of the murderous Venezuelan gang known as Tren de Aragua, including a pack of these sadistic animals arrested last month with over 280 guns. And these are guns of the latest caliber. These are guns that were made over the last period of less than a year, getting brand new guns.
the latest and the greatest. Every day, our brave law enforcement officers are hunting down and deporting migrant criminals who have committed heinous crimes, including more than 13,000 murders. 11,888 to be exact, but I'd probably say the 13,000 is right also. Think of it, 11,888, and more than half of them, they committed more than one murder. So Ron, many of them are out of here already, but it's still it's a hell of a number to be confronted with. Just this year, ICE agents in Miami have apprehended illegals with arrests for murder, kidnapping, rape, child sexual abuse, and arson, people of the worst order. We're getting these monsters out of the United States, out of Florida, out of all the places that they're in. And on January 20th, I signed an executive order empowering governors and state police to be deputized to enforce federal immigration laws. And Ron's already taken advantage of it. It's a tremendous advantage for the states. Most of them are doing it. Actually, the blue states tend not to do it. Even a couple of them have, though. And I want to express my tremendous thanks to the state of Florida for embracing this opportunity and being a true partner. They've worked so well with the federal government. It's been just a beautiful, beautiful partnership. So, Ron, I'd like to thank you personally. You are my friend, and you'll always be my friend. And we may have some skirmishes even in the future. I doubt it, but I will always come back because we just seem to, we have blood that seems to match pretty well. We have a relationship that's been a very strong one for a long period of time, and I appreciate it, very much appreciate it. And also, Secretary Noem, I'd like to say, have you say a few words. You have been unbelievable, the job you've done. You and our favorite person, Tom Homan, have done, and your whole staff, because it's a lot of people, and Tom acknowledges it all the time. He respects you so much. He respects the staff that you both built. And you're really doing one of the great jobs. And it was great that you could work with Ron in Florida so well. Built such a great facility. So please say a few words. Thank you very much.
I hope this will work. Well, thank you, Mr. President. First of all, I want to thank you for putting the safety and the security of the American people first. And the way that you never lose focus on making sure that America stays our priority and that the families that live here get the chance to grow up and to raise their children in communities that are safe and that give them an opportunity to pursue the American dream. This facility here is a fantastic representation of what can happen when all of government works together and when it's accountable to the taxpayers and to the citizens that live here. The president signed an executive order that allowed us to build partnerships with states and with local law enforcement officers, which is exactly how things should function in this country. More power, more authority given to people locally so that they can take control of their own destiny. And so we have already been working under the 287G program to deputize law enforcement officers, whether they be state highway patrol, local sheriff's departments in all of our states, and allow them to go out with our ICE officers, our border patrol officers, and make sure that we're getting the worst of the worst off of the streets. We also recognize that as we've been doing that and returning people back to their home countries, that we need detention facilities. We need beds to put them in place so that they can have their due process before they return home. And this facility is exactly what I want every single governor in this country to consider doing with us. What happened to start this conversation was that a young man named Jimmy Percival in my office, my general counsel, who came from Florida and used to work here, called up the Attorney General and the governor and said, hey, what do you think about partnering with us on a detention facility that we could put in place that would allow us to bring individuals there? There's an airstrip close by. You guys volunteered the assets that you have and the connections that you have and worked with Kevin extensively so that we could come here, have their due process given, and return them home to their countries. And in 8 days, this facility has been stood up. And I want everybody to recognize the detention facilities that ICE adheres to is a higher standard than is required at state levels, at local Department of Corrections facilities, sheriff's offices.
Doing
This
more
is
for
a
them than American
state-of-the-art facility,
prisoners.
air conditioned,
Ridiculous.
isolated though for security
Ridiculous.
purposes, which is very helpful.
Incredible.
And I appreciate so many people being willing to work together to make a project like this happen. Right here on this location, we'll have about 3,000 beds. Other location will have another 2,000 beds that will allow us to bring individuals across the country that we are bringing in and incarcerating for violating our laws, and immediately get them out of the country as soon as we possibly can. It's exactly what we need to be perpetuating in other states. And what I would say is, I want all of you to notice these flyers that we've got, is that everybody who sees these flyers or anybody who sees these news clips should know you can still go home on your own. You can self-deport. If you go on the CBP Home app and go home now, you will get the chance to come back to the United States legally. You will get the chance to come back and do it the right way. If you don't, you may end up here. And you may end up here and being processed, deported out of this country, and never get the chance to come back. That is the consequences of breaking the law in the United States of America. Listen, our job is to uphold the law. This is a country of laws. We have a border now, and because we have a president that cares and recognizes that we need to be a nation of borders and a nation that upholds the law. If you break the law, there's consequences. We will deport you and you will never get to be a United States citizen. You'll never even get to come back here and work and to pursue the American dream. But if you decide you want to go home now, go home. And we'll help facilitate it. We'll buy your plane ticket. We'll get you there. In fact, I just got back from Panama, Costa Rica, Guatemala, Honduras. Those countries are excited to get their citizens home. They're setting up programs to loan them money to buy houses when they get there, help them with food assistance, get their children educated, scholarships. They want their citizens that are living here in the United States illegally to come home and to be a part of their economy and help their countries grow. So this is a win-win for everyone. And I just want to end, Mr. President, by thanking our law enforcement officers, by thanking our ICE officers and our Border Patrol officers for what they do every day. They are out on the streets, and violence against them has increased over 500% since Trump has gone back into the White House, because he's upholding the law and because a bunch of liberals, socialists, and Marxists are out there lying about what President Trump is doing. President Trump is upholding freedom by what he is doing. The freedom to live safely in this country and to do things legally and to have justice. And because those liberals, and I'm calling out you, CNN, I'm calling you out because you lie every single day about what these operations are. We are going after murderers and rapists and traffickers and drug dealers and getting them off the streets and getting them out of this country because Joe Biden let the worst of the worst come in here. The other day I was talking to some marshals that have been partnering with ICE. They said that they had detained a cannibal and put him on a plane to take him home, and while they had him in his seat, he started to eat himself. And they had to get him off and get him medical attention. These are the kind of deranged individuals that are on our streets in America that we're trying to target and get out of our country because they are so deranged they don't belong here. And they shouldn't be walking the streets with our children. And they shouldn't be living in the communities with our families who just want to grow up, go to job, raise their children to grow up and get a job and to live the American dream. So thank you to all of our law enforcement officers, those in our military that have been helping, our National Guard. Thank you to Governor Desantis for stepping up and being an example to other governors. I hope my phone rings off the hook from governors calling and saying, how can we do what Florida just did? How can we do exactly what they did? Because we need this big, beautiful bill. We absolutely have to have this big, beautiful bill that has the funding so that we can continue this operation and we can get those bad criminals off of our streets and have the officers to do it so that when they go out on an operation, somebody's got their back. Somebody's got their back, they can do it safely, and they can go home to their families at night too. So this bill needs to pass through Congress so we have the resources at the Department of Homeland Security to make sure that our homeland truly is secure. And Mr. President, thank you for Stephen Miller. I just want to thank you for him. This guy calls me night and day and tells me all of his wise advice and wisdom, but he's a rock star because he loves this country and he's passionate about making sure that nobody is prioritized over an American citizen. We love everybody. We do. We love everybody.
Not everybody.
But, well,
a lot of people.
But we shouldn't be putting people illegally above citizens. We should be making sure that we do things right. And that's what America has always stood for, and we're an example to the rest of the world because we do it right. So, Mr. President, you surround yourself with great people, and I think that's because everybody wants to work for the greatest president that the United States has ever had, and that's President Donald J. Trump. So thank you, sir.
Thank you.
God bless America. This is crazy.
Thank you very much. And I have to say that, you know, when Christie's name was put before me by Tom Homan, by the way, because I wanted him for the border, and somehow I thought that was going to be good in that sort. But he didn't want the upper job, and I said, "Who do you recommend?" Christie Noem. I said, "Oh, are you kidding? She's great, but she's such a fine, elegant person." He said, "Sir, she's tough as hell." I said, "Are you sure? You are tough as hell, I tell you, and that you do it in a very nice way, but you are, if you ever saw her ride a horse, she rides a horse like she should be in the rodeo. She's like an unbelievable horse person, and you've done a fantastic job, and Steve Miller would even agree to that. And he likes nobody, by the way. I don't think he likes anybody. And another one we like is Ron. And Ron, would you say a few words, please?
Sure. Well, thank you, Mr. President. Welcome back to Florida. And I think this is the first time you've been back since the events of a couple weeks. So just let me say, as somebody that was serving on active duty in Iraq back in the day, we witnessed the number of our troops that were killed or wounded by the Iranians. We know that they're a militant Islamic regime that was hell-bent on getting nuclear weapons, and under Joe Biden, they were about to get nuclear weapons. And because of your strong actions, those dreams and those ambitions have been reduced to rubble. And I thank you. I know a lot of veterans thank you, and people in Florida really thank you for stepping up and really making a strong, tough, but strong decision. I think we're much safer as a result of that. Now, on the immigration, I think President Trump's election represented the chance for us to finally solve this illegal immigration and border problem once and for all. I knew he was going to do the border, although he did it very quickly and very thoroughly. I think that no one can say that that's been anything but a spectacular success. But then we have the issue of Biden let in how many millions of people? And you had millions that had been in over decades previous to that. You can't have a country if you don't have respect for the rule of law. You can't have a country if foreigners get to decide who comes in. No, we the American people make that decision, who's allowed or not allowed to come into our country. We've seen Europe be overrun by open borders, so we're not going to let that happen here. So when President got elected, I knew that the states had an important role to play in facilitating this really historic mission. We're the only state in America, in Florida, that requires full cooperation with ICE from all state and local law enforcement entities. And what is the net result of that? We have these agreements for these 287G task force with sheriff's departments, police departments, state agencies, and it's really instrumental in rounding up a lot of really bad people who shouldn't be here. If you look at the number of those full-blown 287G agreements that have been executed around the country, the state of Florida accounts for 60% of those. If you look at the number of immigration arrests of illegal aliens on any given day, the arrests happening in Florida constitute between 15 and 20%. Nationwide. So we're all in on this because we understand how important it is to our citizens. It crowds schools, it crowds medical, it crowds housing. That's right. Yes, you have illegal alien crime as well, and people want the problem solved. And the only way we're going to solve it is if states like Florida step up and help the president, help Secretary Noem get the job done. Now, this facility here was really in response to us working with DHS and ICE from the time the president got sworn in. And the number one thing they kept coming back to was, you know, Biden decimated the agency. I mean, let's just be clear. You could have illegals in Florida. Biden would just release them. That's even right. When they had notices or they had orders to be removed, Biden wouldn't send them back. So their interior enforcement collapsed under Biden. So they're building it back up. But they're like, we need detention space in order to be able to bring about more deportations. And so what we have here can hold 3,000 now. We have 2,000 facility up at Camp Blanding that we're going to be open, which is our National Guard site. But think about what you have here. They come here, say they already are been ordered to be deported. You drive them 2,000 feet to the runway, and then they're gone. It's a one-stop shop. And this airport that's been here for a long time is the perfectly secure location. It's going to make a big difference. And let me just thank everyone who was involved. We got the call from DHS a little bit more than a week ago. And here we are 8 days later with this facility open. And as soon as Air Force One departs, it'll be swept and it'll be open for business to be able to do. But our goal here is to process them and be able to effectuate their return to their home country. This is the opposite of what they were doing in New York by just putting them up in a hotel and then just letting them stay there indefinitely. No, we want to be able to send back. And when you walk into the processing, the president and I, Secretary Noem, Kevin Guthrie, walk through that initial intake. The first thing you see is information on how to go home on your own. Why would you want to come through Alligator Alcatraz if you can just go home on your own? I think a lot of people are going to make that decision. So you're going to have a lot of deportations that are going to be done by the administration, but I think you're going to have a lot of voluntary as well. So this is a force multiplier for the president's efforts. I would just say and echo what Secretary Noem says. There is no reason why other states can't be doing it. And I know Louisiana, Texas, a couple of them, but we've got if only the red states did this, they would be able to expand their capacity by tens of thousands, maybe 50, 100,000 on a given day. That's how you really start to make a difference. And so we're proud to be able to partner with the Trump administration on that. Mr. President, thanks for coming down. I think you highlighting this is going to move the needle in a big way throughout the country, and I think it's going to help all of us achieve the really big results that I think our voters want to see.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President, for the opportunity. My name is Kevin Guthrie. I'm the Executive Director of the Florida Division of Emergency Management. I'd also like to thank President Trump and Department of Homeland Security Secretary Noem for joining us here today and for their continued support. I want to thank first by thanking the man to my right, and that's Governor Ron Desantis, whose bold leadership and swift action made this project possible. Make no mistake, this facility would not be standing here without the President, the Secretary, and the Governor's vision and determination to uphold the rule of law. Florida is and will always be a law and order state. Even before the President took office, the Governor made it clear that illegal immigration would not be tolerated in the state of Florida. When the President and the Secretary asked Florida to help, the Governor empowered our state and private partners to work collaboratively and deliver real results on a rapid timeline. The Florida Division of Emergency Management is best known for leading the nation in hurricane response and other natural disasters. We understand how to act fast without bureaucracy in the face of any emergency. Our teams built roads in 8 hours, bridges in 3 days, base camps in 72 hours, and full causeways in 2 weeks. Getting things done quickly, efficiently, and correctly is at the core of our mission. We simply just want to be the best at what we do in the nation. When the Governor called me, we answered, and we were proud to bring our logistical expertise to the table. We know how to set up base camps for guardsmen, first responders, linemen, volunteers, and other aid sources, and distribute that in a matter of days before a storm. We're able to translate this knowledge to what we did here at Alligator Alcatraz. Florida has put the best teams together who check their individual logos and egos at the door to get this done. Not just for you, Governor, but Mr. President, for you as well. There are over 13 different vendors that came together to get this solved in 8 days. Truly a whole of private sector partnership to get that done. Behind you on these boards, in only 8 days, we have built a fully compliant detention facility with a detainee capacity of up to 3,000 people, with room for additional capacity if you asked us to do so. The detention facility includes over 158,000 square feet of housing and is a fully aluminum frame structure rated for winds of 110 miles an hour or a high-end Category 2 for those people that don't think that we're taking that into consideration. This is Florida, by the way. Power supply is fully redundant with backup generators in place. We put a staff village here on site with a capacity of 1,000. Our services are hot meal 3 times a day, 24/7 medical facility, pharmacy, air conditioning, access to indoor and outdoor rec yards, legal and clergy support services, laundry. Our security element is over 200 security cameras throughout the facility, more than 28,000 feet of barbed wire, 400 plus security personnel to include 200 men and women, soldiers and airmen underneath Major General John Haas's command as the Adjutant General of Florida. And it's all surrounded, as you pointed out, Mr. President, by 10 miles of beautiful Florida Everglades. Contingencies, as with all state correctional facilities, we have a hurricane plan. We will not wait for a Cat 2. We will follow our normal evacuation procedures. as we do for any other facility statewide in our great state of Florida. We have on-site fire and EMS resources so that we do not we don't burden the locals with any type of response. All in all, sir, this has been a perfect state logistics exercise for this hurricane season. Everything we did here in the last 8 days, God forbid, if we have a hurricane, we're going to do it again. This was a dress rehearsal for us, and we are ready, willing, and able to support you, sir, the governor, secretary, and everything that you need us to do. Just a week ago, it was a taxiway and a runway, and now it's a fully functioning facility. We are happy to support you, Mr. President, Governor, Secretary.
Wow, that is some. Did you turn it? Well, anyway, you guys, this has really been a lot with Trump, everything that's going on. It's amazing. I don't know how you guys feel about everything what we have witnessed so far, but do you support the detainees? They look like they're getting better. They're getting better treatment than American prisoners. It looked like they need to visit some of these American prisons because they got air conditioning, they got clean beds, clean facilities. They probably giving them 3 meals a day with a chef. I mean,
She was saying everything they got for them.
They're being treated
Luxury.
better than American citizens are being treated. I mean, look, go and visit some of the prisons, I guess, here in the United States. Our prisoners are not being treated like they're being treated. These people have committed heinous crimes, and they have priority over even our American prisoners. You know, when are they going to visit those prisons and see the conditions there? That would be something amazing. You know, that would be something like we have so much focus on non-citizens that we have no focus. Not even when it comes to the prisons for American prisoners. What they're being raped in prisons. What's being done about that? What about the conditions that they go through in our prisons here in the United States? But they're being put in luxury detainment centers. These are not everyday non-citizens. These are people that have committed crimes even since they've been here. Those are the ones they went after since they even been here in the United States. And we got these crazy, they're arresting children. No, they're not. They're not arresting kids and regular citizens. The only Americans that have gotten any kind of arrests or whatever have been the ones that have actually have hit these officers, has tried to stop them from arresting criminals, have interfered with them doing their job. This is for our safety. This is like crazy. It's crazy. It's not going to be able to be on. You want to take it because I got to go out there with him. It's just unbelievable. It's like all logic has left the room. It's like we don't even look at everything any longer. Like everybody is so emotional and so not even looking at things, what's going on. When did we ever do this over criminals? I've never seen it. I've never even heard of it in the United States. Look at our history books. I've never seen this. This is a problem. And this is a problem that we inherited. This came all from open borders. This is all from open borders. That's what has happened to this country. It has divided us. It doesn't make any sense.
The air and the maritime domains, and in partnership with our Border Patrol, OFO officers, and ERO, we continue to conduct effective operations both interior, along the border, and along the maritime approaches.
Thank you very much. Good job.
Good afternoon, Mr. President. Jose Figueroa. I am the acting special agent in charge for Homeland Security investigations here in South Florida, and our office covers from Key West to Fort Pierce. Tremendous collaboration here with the state and our federal partners. HSI is conducting criminal investigations into TDA, MS-13s that are involved in human smuggling, sex trafficking of minors, and we will continue that effort with your support. Governor Desantis, thank you very much for this facility. Looking forward to continue the great work. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Steve, would you like to say something? Our star.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to say on a personal note, getting to watch what you've done over the last 5 months to deliver on a 50-year hope and dream of the American people to secure the border. When President Trump came into office on January 20th, the United States had endured the largest wave of illegal immigration in human history. Not just American history, human history. And within just a few days, President Trump, through his strength, leadership, diplomacy, and vision, achieved the most secure border anyone in the world has ever seen. When we recently went overseas to the NATO summit, I had senior staff in foreign governments come up to me and ask me how he achieved the Trump miracle on his border and could that be replicated in their countries. For individuals who don't work in this space, to have 0 successful illegal entries in an entire month should be an impossible achievement. There's a 2,000-mile border with one of the poorest countries in the world, and you have open travel from 150 countries into Central America and South America. There are 2 billion people in the world that would economically benefit from illegally coming to the United States. And through the deployment of the military, through the deployment of novel legal and diplomatic tools, through the building of physical infrastructure, through the empowering of ICE, Border Patrol, and the entire federal law enforcement apparatus, President Trump achieved absolute border security. And now, once this legislation is passed, he will be able to make that with those resources permanent. Watching what you've done, sir, has been one of the honors of a lifetime. I'm proud to be able to play any role in it. And what President Trump is going to achieve next with the resources in this bill will make America safer, stronger, freer, more sovereign, and more prosperous than it has ever been before. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you. And the bill is going to be great for Ron. It's going to be great for Florida too. There's a lot of set-asides for Florida. Some of the things that you wanted to do. And so it's great news to hear that it was approved. Do you want to take a few questions, Ron? We'll take a few questions, please. Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. President. Given the likelihood of the one big beautiful bill passing, and
I need that.
we look forward to the success of this facility here. How many more facilities like this do you feel that the country needs in order to enact your agenda of mass deportations?
Well, I think we'd like to see them in many states, really many states. This one, I know Ron's doing a second one, at least a second one, and probably a couple of more. And you know, at some point they might morph into a system where you're going to keep it for a long time. You know, it's not that far away from jails that take years to build and money is spent and wasted, and you know, like the railway that they have in California that cost like 40 times more than it was supposed to cost. The same things happens with prisons. You look at this in a short period of time, Ron, James, and some of the people that really worked on it along with our people, and they did this in less than a week. And you look at it, it's incredible. The incredible thing is picking the site, because the site was one of the most natural sites. It might be as good as the real Alcatraz site. Yeah, it could be. Well, that's a spooky one too, isn't it? That's a tough site. But so I really think it can last as long as they want to have it. I mean, you may morph this into, you know, your prison system, frankly, which I know you always need, unfortunately. I'd like to say, you know, a little controversial, but I couldn't care less. We have a lot of bad criminals that came into this country, and they came in stupidly. It was an unforced error. It was an incompetent president that allowed it to happen. It was an auto pen maybe that allowed it to happen, and it did happen. But we also have a lot of bad people that have been here for a long time. People that whack people over the head with a baseball bat from behind when they're not looking and kill them. People that knife you when you're walking down the street. They're not new to our country. They're old to our country. Many of them were born in our country. I think we ought to get them the hell out of here too. You want to know the truth. So maybe that'll be the next job that we'll work on together. But I think getting them out, you know, we forget about them. We had some bad accidents in New York, and they're not accidents. They were done very much in purpose. People being pushed into a subway just before it arrives, going 40 miles an hour. And they're 10 feet away from where the thing is, you get pushed right into the face of the subway train, get whacked and killed. These are sick people. I'd like to get them out of here too. Yeah, please, go ahead. White shirt, glasses.
Julio Rosas, Blaze Media, sir. A couple months ago, I ran into former DHS Secretary Mayorkas, and I asked him a couple questions about his disastrous handling of the border. He didn't like my questions. But the number one question that I heard from people in responding to my video was, why hasn't he been arrested yet? Obviously you guys are cleaning up the mess that was made deliberately for the past 4 years, and so people want accountability. It's great to see that the border is secured, and it's great to see the state level cooperation. But I guess I would ask you, why hasn't he been held accountable, or anybody? Really?
Well, pardons were given out by to many people that shouldn't have been given out. Like the Unselect Committee of Political Thugs was given a pardon because they destroyed all of the information from 2 years of hearings, and they should be arrested, but they were given pardons. Was he given a pardon, Mayorkas? Was he not?
I don't believe so.
Well, I'd take a look at that one, because what he did is, it's beyond incompetence. Something had to be done. Now, with that being said, he took orders from other people, and he was really doing the orders, and you could say he was very loyal to them, because it must have been very hard for him to stand up and sit up and, talk about what he allowed to happen to this country and be serious about it. So he was given orders. If he wasn't given the pardon, I could see looking at that and make, why don't you take a look at it, Chris? He was impeached, but yeah, it was just a fake impeachment. It was a fake impeachment. Why don't you take a look at it? I think he was so bad. They were all so bad. Look, it was the worst president in the history of our country. We've had some bad ones, but he was the worst president. But somebody told Mayorkas to do that, and he followed orders, but that doesn't necessarily hold him harmless. So take a look at it. It's a very good question, actually. Thank you. Yeah, please. Go ahead.
Mr. President, you and the Secretary have both said that many people have self-deported since you came back into office.
Yeah.
How many is many, and has the rate gone up? How do you see the tempo of that moving forward going on?
We have had several 100,000, but also we have many that have self-deported, not even using the CBP Home app. When I have gone to these other countries to negotiate security agreements and information sharing on criminals who's coming and going into their countries, they report that hundreds of thousands have come home that weren't on our radar, that they are coming home on their own and self-deporting because they want the chance to be able to go back to America someday. So we believe it's over 1 million, possibly more than that. I'm asking all of those countries for their information on what they have of individuals that may have returned home, that they have taking advantage of their programs to help them become a part of their civilization again too. So we know it's over 1 million, but we have to, I'm getting more information, and that number will grow.
If they don't leave, they never get the chance to come back. We have to take them out, and we will. They'll go out, but they never get a chance to come back. The other way, we actually make it a little bit easier for them to come back. Okay? Thank you. Good question. Thank you.
The bill is now passed in the Senate, but we are already hearing from some
Wow.
Republicans in the House who say they cannot get on board with the changes that were made to the bill in the Senate. What is your message to those holdouts?
Well, I just heard that about the Senate, and the bill just passed, and it tells you there's something for everyone. I mean, it's a great bill. There is something for everyone.
What changes have
And I
been
think
made?
it's going to go very nicely in the House. Actually, I think it will be easier in the House than it was in the Senate.
And just to be clear on the Medicaid cuts, you've promised not to cut Medicaid, said this is all just targeting waste, fraud, and abuse. Are you saying that the estimated 11.8 million people who could lose their health coverage, that is all waste, fraud, and abuse?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying it's going to be a very much smaller number than that, and that number will be waste, fraud, and abuse. And if you look, they took a much more liberal stance on the Medicaid situation than they could have. They had a tough stance and a weak stance. They took not a very strong stance on that to start off, and it's waste, fraud, and abuse, and everybody wants that covered.
What number is that? What analysis are you seeing?
I'm not seeing a number, but I know it's much less than the number you gave, and we really were very, very cognizant of three things. Social Security, we're going to take care of it beautifully. Medicare and Medicaid, and we are going to save it, whereas the Democrats are going to, you won't have it. They will destroy Medicare and Medicaid, and they have to because their numbers don't work. So it's not going to happen. They're the ones that have destroyed Medicare. They have made it so bad already, they're going to make it a lot worse. But now we'll be in charge, so we're going to have no problem with Medicaid or Medicare or Social Security. Thank you. Yeah.
Claire Ball with Week News in Fort Myers. What is your direction to ICE when it comes to arresting farm workers here illegally, other workers in industries that are pretty critical to Florida's economy?
Yeah. Well, we're very much cognizant of that, and as you know, I won the farmers by 92%, and I'm not going to be abandoning my farmers. We were strong on the borders, but we're also strong for the farmers and for others in the hotel industry, etc. You know, we have similar situations, and Christy and I, and we'll be working with Ron and a lot of the states. We're going to work something where the farmers can be responsible for some of the people that have, and they have people around for 10, 15 years that they know very well. We're going to put them responsible, and we're going to issue a form of a card or document, and the farmer's going to be responsible for these people. They're not going to have citizenship, but they'll be working, they'll be paying taxes. We need to get our farmers the people they need, otherwise our farmers aren't going to be able to do their land. You know, it was tried once before, many, many years ago, where there was a very strong guy, and he got everybody out, and every farm almost in the country, but every farm in California, every farm in Iowa, almost all the farms went bankrupt. They had nobody to work, and we don't want to have that situation. So we're going to work it. We're going to put our farmers and others in charge of the people that they have under them. They know the people, and I think it's going to work out really well. We're going to take care of our farmer, but we're going to get the criminals out. Okay? Yeah, go ahead, please.
Thank you. Mr. President, how do you respond to critics who fear that a 3,000-bed detention center and the waste that could produce will pollute the surrounding federal protected land, including land that both administrations have invested billions of dollars in restoring?
Well, I was one of those that invested billions of dollars and hundreds of millions of dollars right here in the Meadowlands, but in the Everglades, and the Meadowlands too in New York. If you look at what we did up there, speaking of the Meadowlands, a lot of places like this, but this is a very unique one. One thing I'll say about this land, we'll be gone 1,000,000 years and this land is still going to be here. It's not going to be much different. You'll have the water moccasins, you'll have the alligators. You may not have people, but you're going to have all those animals. They're going to be around, and you got plenty of them out here. I think it was a brilliant choice, and I think almost anybody in his or her right mind would say this was a brilliant choice. I give the governor a lot of credit for using this piece of land. And in addition to that, it's on top of something that was already developed. It's an airport. You know, you have the runways, you have so it's already been developed. So it's not like you're dropping dirt right into the thing. There was zero movement of that. That was done many years ago because the airport's very old, but it was an abandoned railroad, an abandoned airport. And frankly, it's like perfect. And you can do expansion on this site substantially without doing anything. So the people, I heard them complaining about the Everglades. There's no, I don't think you've done anything to the Everglades. I think you're just enhancing it. This was already here. How long has the airport been here?
Decades.
Many decades, yeah.
And they have, Kevin, all these guys, you know, have a waste plan, like the wastewater gets trucked out, potable water gets, literally, they have, even our DOT has put things up in case there's any seepage, which we don't. So you are literally doing this on concrete that's already here. So I don't think those are valid and even good faith criticisms, because it's not going to impact the Everglades at all. President's been a champion, we've been a champion, really changed the game in Florida on it. I think it's just people don't want to see illegal immigrants deported, and that's their ideology, and they have a right to that. But illegal immigration is unpopular, so they know that they're going to have less effect. So they're going to say, oh, well, no, it's just about the Everglades. But really, I think a lot of those people, they just don't want to see illegals deported. Because if you actually hear, everyone's here, you obviously know there's zero land that's being disturbed.
Well, you know, when we talk about popularity, though, I will say I ran on the issue of illegals, and we have to get them out. And I won 82% on that issue. So I think that they may not like certain aspects of it, but ultimately they do not want them in their country. And if this is a part of a use, but I think from an environmental standpoint, it's incredible. In fact, when we landed that very big, heavy plane today, they came out and checked it fairly. You know, I think they want the president to be able to land on a piece of concrete that's not going to go 6 feet underground. And they checked it. They came back and they said, this thing is really solid. So it's been there a long time. It's going to be here a long time, and it was a great choice, I would say. Thank you. Yes, please, Brian, go ahead.
Sir. The people of Syria were recently seen on the streets waving American flags, chanting Trump, Trump, Trump.
they're so appreciative of the economic sanctions that was lifted on that country, giving them a little bit of hope for prosperity. You want to comment on that?
Well, they're great people, and the man that is leading them has a reputation, and he was the head of some pretty tough organizations, and a lot of people criticized me for that. I said, well, what are we going to do, take him out of a day school, a country day school? It's going to be, by nature, I would think, Rob, he'll be pretty tough, and he is pretty tough, but I think I met him, spent a lot of time with him, good guy. I took off the sanctions, because if I didn't do that, they wouldn't have had a chance. And Syria has a chance. You know, the people are great. They work hard. They're very smart. It used to be a place of professionals, accountants and lawyers and doctors and high academic credentials in that part of the world. And I think it's going to work out great. I took off the sanctions and they were very appreciative. They were shocked, but they were very appreciative. We're giving them a chance at survival. With the sanctions, it couldn't have worked. Thank you.
Mr. President, your beloved New York City. Your beloved New York City may well be led by a communist soon, Zorhan Mandami, who in his nomination speech said he will defy ICE and will not allow ICE to arrest criminal aliens in New York City. Your message to communist Zorhan Mandami.
Well, then we'll have to arrest him. Look, we don't need a communist in this country, but if we have one, I'm going to be watching over him very carefully on behalf of the nation. We send him money. We send him all the things that he needs to run a government. And by the way, they get about 3 times what you get, Ron. If you look at the per capita, Florida gets 1/3 of what New York gets in terms of the numbers. Why don't you give us those numbers?
Yeah, well,
Because that's what we should send him.
Yeah, well, like sometimes people say Florida gets more because they count Social Security recipients, but that's not money to the state. Those are seniors that live here. If they move to North Carolina, you could count it there. So it has no interaction with the state government. They get more in the city and state governments than we get.
Right, substantially. We're going to be watching that very carefully, and a lot of people are saying he's here illegally. He's, we're going to look at everything, and ideally. He's going to turn out to be much less than a communist, but right now he's a communist. That's not a socialist. You know, I've always said we will not have socialism in this country. In the speeches, I say, well, what? They skip socialism, and you get a lot of them like that. And you see AOC, she's out there with her, bad IQ. She's out there ranting and raving about how wonderful he is. And look, so far he's winning. He still has a race to win, but so far he's winning, and he has an advantage as a Democrat in New York City. I was there a long time ago, and it was a long time since a Republican won the city. But you would think that a Republican would be able to win. Or you have a good independent running, Mayor Adams, who's a very good person.
Y'all better push Mayor
I helped him out a
Adams.
little bit. He had a problem. He was unfairly hurt over this question. He made a statement to the effect that this is terrible. New York City can't have all these immigrants come in. And like he was indicted the following day. And I said, that was a phony indictment. Then it was a phony indictment. That was a Biden indictment. I said, don't feel bad. I got indicted 5 times every time you opened your mouth. That was a bad group. That was a very dangerous group, I will tell you. These were not nice people. That was the only thing they could do. They had no policy. They had no skill. They had no anything. Policy. But they were very good at that. They were vicious, horrible people. Thank you very much. Yeah, please go ahead.
Anna Gertelli with Washington Examiner. Governor Desantis has proposed using National Guard, deputizing them as immigration judges to get through this massive backlog of people in the immigration court. Would you be open to that?
Yes, he has my approval. Okay. That wasn't too hard to get, was it? He didn't even have to ask me, James. You didn't even need James to ask me. He has my approval, okay? Good. I also like what he's doing in Okeechobee. He has my approval for that. I don't know. We worked that out, but we'll work it out.
We'll follow up.
Go ahead. Please.
President Trump, Jake Silverman with Action News Jax from up in Jacksonville. There's some talk about a facility similar to this up in Camp Blanding. Has that been approved by DHS? If not, what's the timeline? When could we see ground break on that?
Well, I'll ask Ron or James to talk about it. You want to mention it, James?
The overarching plan, I think the secretary is said she supports the whole plan, so you guys are going to keep going. Yeah.
So, Mr. President, just specifically the response for proposals is out for that today. It closes, I can't even remember what day of the week it is, but it closes on Wednesday at 5 o'clock. Then we will do notice to proceed. So I would say right after our wonderful Independence Day, we will be starting construction there at that facility.
You can have another big runway there too.
That's great. Wow. Well, I love these runways. It's very convenient, I must say. Having a runway is a nice thing. Today you don't get runways approved. I will tell you, it's tough to get a runway. Although in the age of Trump, you get them approved fast. You know, we're approving massive electrical bins, what they call them bins, but big electrical facilities for all of the factories and the AI that's coming in. They're going to build their own electric. They're going to be really. They're going to be made into electrical providers. They're going to have a lot left over. They'll put it into the grid. I think they're going to end up doing so much. They'll put it into the grid. Won't even cost anything from their standpoint. But so we have a lot of that happening. We get approvals fast. So, but I was just saying, runways are hard to get, but we'll get them now. But in the past, I would say over the past 30, 40 years, when you can get a runway, that was considered gold. Okay, please go ahead. Go ahead. Sure. Okay, go ahead. Yes.
President Trump, Laverne McGee, News 6 Orlando. You have fulfilled several campaign promises along with the help of Governor Ron DeSantis. What is the next campaign promise that you plan to fulfill to the American people?
So we have turned this country around in less than 6 months. And when I was away, and I was telling Ron, I was telling some others, I've said it a little publicly, I guess, but I met a lot of very important people. The King of Saudi Arabia, I was there 2 weeks ago, and Qatar, the leader of Qatar, who's great, and the leader of UAE, who's great. These are very substantial people, very smart people, and good people. And all three of them said essentially the same thing, along with many other people, because I just left NATO. NATO's we took it up to 5%. Nobody can believe that one run. That would be a hard one. Nobody believes that what happened in NATO, over $1 trillion a year from like nothing. It was an honor. But every leader said that a year ago, this country was dead. They had no confidence in the United. They really felt it was a dead country, and it was some bad things were gonna happen. But they used the term, it was a dead country, and now they said you have the hottest country anywhere in the world. We're the hottest country in the world right now. And we turned it around fast. I thought it would take longer than this. We turned it around fast. Some of it was psychology, and we had to know how good we were. But others was getting rid of rules, regulations, and all of the things that I got rid of already. I signed more executive orders than anybody in history, times like 3 or 4. And I got rid of just one. I got rid of the other night. You buy a house, they have a faucet in the house, Joe, and the faucet, the water doesn't come out. They have a restrictor. You can't, in areas where you have so much water, they don't know what to do with it. You have a shower head, the shower doesn't, you think it's not working. It is working. The water's dripping out. And that's no good for me. I like this hair I like that hair nice and wet. Think you have to stand in the shower for 20 minutes before you get the soap out of your hair. And I put a thing in, and it sounds funny, but it's really not. It's horrible. And when you wash your hands, you turn on the faucet, no water comes out. You're washing, the water barely comes out. So this was done by crazy people. And I wrote it all off and got it approved in Congress so that they can't just change it. Because I did it in my first term, everyone was so happy. And then one of the first things that Biden did when he came back is he put the restriction on showers, toilets, and sinks. Put this restriction, and washing machines. The washing machine, they give you like a quarter of this bottle to do your clothing. And people needed 10 of these bottles. And the people came to me from Whirlpool. They said, we can't make a machine that's competitive. We can't make a machine that doesn't work. Why? They don't let us use water. Do you have any problems with water? No, we have so much we don't know what to do with it. You know, it comes down from heaven, right? And I approved all of that, the washing machines, the whole thing. The dishwashers, that was the other one. They give you like this much water right up to there to do your dishes. So people, you know what they do? They keep pressing the button. So they end up doing the dishes 10 times. They end up using more water than you would have used if you did it right in the first place. So all of that stuff has been written off. It sounds crazy, it's little things. The straw, I let you go back to a plastic straw. I was tired of having straws melt in my mouth, you know? It wasn't working, the paper wasn't working too well. So these are little things that I did. Then we have the big things, we have the biggest things, and that has to do with some of the subjects we're talking now. I think the things we're talking about now are the biggest, because if you don't have borders in this country, borders and good elections, and we're working on that next. There's some bills coming in that's going to make sure that you're a citizen, that people aren't counted in the voting when, you know, they were here and they're here as illegals and they're criminals in many cases, and they give them a count, and you end up with extra congressmen. We're going to work on that. We're going to straighten that out next. That's going to be easy compared to what we were doing. But we did the big things too. But little things like that, a straw, little things like a washing machine with no water. People go out, they spend all their money on a washing machine. The damn thing doesn't work. You can't use the water. Then you go to your sink and that doesn't work either. You're stuck. You know what you do? You have dirty plates the next day. That's it. And we solved so many common sense problems. And they weren't easy. You know, there are people that really believe in this stuff. But, you know, most states have so much water, they don't know what to do with it. And look at North Carolina. I mean, they had a lot of water. And they have to get restrictors on their, you know, on their kitchen faucet. So we're very proud of the things we did, and we're going to do a lot more of them. Yeah, please, go ahead. You guys are in good shape.
It's Eric Bowling. How you doing, sir? Something we've talked about for, I'd say, the better part of 20 years. I think it's something near and dear to your heart, energy.
Oh, what kind
our
of?
energy security. Under Joe Biden, average price of oil for the 4 years was about $79 a barrel. He drained the SPR halfway down, promised to replenish it, never did.
Right.
Under you, first term, $53 average price for 4 years. Biden was $78 for 8 years. It was never refilled. The question is now it's $64 or so.
Yeah.
What
coming down rapidly.
Coming down, and what a great opportunity to fix another one of Joe Biden's problems, one of the things he broke in America, giving us the energy security of an emergency SPR.
Sure.
Fill it to,
Thank God
go beyond and
America
fill it to $1 billion
finally has an actual
at a much
president.
cheaper price. Thoughts on the energy sector?
So it holds 77 million barrels, and we had it up to the top, if you remember. And I was proud of that, and I made a deal to buy it at the lowest price of oil. It was a good deal, good instinct. And we filled it up, and when he came in, he started using it to keep oil prices down because he blew our energy policy out. Energy and his bad spending is what caused inflation. So now we have no inflation. Gasoline just hit $1.99 today in 5 states. $1.99, isn't that a nice sound? It was up to $4. And going up to $5, $6, and $7. In California, it was $7.70. But we just hit in five states, $1.99, $1.98. And it's coming down to that level, so that'll be a big thing. And one of the reasons the prices and costs are going down when you go to the supermarket, because I said I was going to get costs down. We're getting the costs down. Food is coming down. When I came out, my first week, if you remember, I had a lunatic reporter screaming at me saying, eggs are going through the roof. What are you going to do about eggs? I said, I just got here. I didn't know anything about eggs. I had to call you. I said, look, I just got here. Tell me the problem. Well, they're doubled in price and they're going to be 5 or 6 times higher. They were right, actually. I said, let me work on it. And now we have eggs down to the same numbers it was when I first came in. You know, we lowered the cost of groceries. A simple word like that, groceries, it was like almost a strange word. I hadn't heard the word in so long, but what could be more beautiful than the word grocery? And we have the prices way down. We have the energy way down. Energy brought the groceries down, if you want to know the truth. And, you know, so we think we're going to get it lower, and we're going to fill up the it's called the Strategic National Reserves. I had it topped out, and this guy would use them every time before the election. He'd use them whenever they had an election. It was artificial. But believe it or not, as big as that, tens of hundreds of millions of barrels of oil, all filled up at low prices. But it was really meant for wars, and it wasn't meant for keeping your prices down during a holiday so that somebody could get elected. But they used it, and they didn't bring it. The only mistake you made, they didn't bring it a little down. They brought it right down to the bottom. The thing is practically empty. They never filled it up. They never spent 10 cents in filling it up. And we'll do that. When the market is right, we'll fill it up. I want to fill it up when the market's right. Thank you. How about one more question? Okay, please, in the back.
Dana Marie McNichol, Fox News Channel. Mr. President, is there an expected time frame that detainees will spend here, days, weeks, months? And does that have anything to do with the immigration judges you just spoke about being trained and staffed here?
When you say, what was the first part of your question?
Is there a specific time frame you expect the detainees to spend here? Days, weeks, months?
In Florida?
Yes, here at Alligator
I'm going to
Alcatraz.
spend a lot. Look, this is my home state. I love it. I love your government. I love all the people around. These are all friends of mine. They know them very well. I mean, I'm not surprised that they do so well. They're great people. Ron has been a friend of mine for a long time. I feel very comfortable in the state. I'll spend a lot of time here. I want to, for 4 years, I've got to be in Washington, and I'm okay with it because I love the White House. I even fix up the little Oval Office. I make it, it's like a diamond. It's beautiful. It's so beautiful. It wasn't maintained properly, I will tell you that. But even when it wasn't, it was still the Oval Office, so it meant a lot. But I'll spend as much time as I can here. My vacation is generally here because it's convenient. I live in Palm Beach. It's my home. And I have a very nice little place, nice little cottage to stay at, right? But we have a lot of fun, and I'm a big contributor to Florida. Pay a lot of tax, and a lot of people move from New York, and I don't know what New York is going to do. A lot of people move to Florida from New York, and it was for a lot of reasons, but one of them was taxes. The taxes are so high in New York, they're leaving. I don't know what New York's going to do about that, because some of the biggest, wealthiest people and some of the people that pay the most taxes of any people anywhere in the world, for that matter, they're moving to Florida and other places. So we're going to have to help some of these states out, I think. But thank you very much. I'll be here as much as I can. Very nice question. With that, I'd like to just end by saying I want to thank Ron and James and all of the people that have done such a great job, all of your staff. Really fantastic work. And it really started with site selection. You can do a great job, but if you have the wrong site, in real estate, you have the wrong site, you're dead. And this was a great site selection, despite what you may read in the environmental press. Good job. And this was an honor for Christy and myself and Steve and all of our people to be here. And I also appreciate the media. They've treated us very fairly. Over the last few weeks, I've been treated very nicely. And it's so unusual. I'm not used to it, but we've gotten great accolades. Brian, I want to thank you for calling out, because I was waiting here, because I knew the vote was taking place and I'm answering questions. Right? So I want to thank you very much and say hello to our friend. And I will see a lot of you. Thank you very much. We're going to make America great again. Thank you very much.
Make America great again. Yeah, that was great. I'm glad to see Trump actually being a president and not sleeping after, what was it, Joe Biden was after 3 p.m. he would go to bed and stuff. I actually like to see him supporting America and the people, put it back on him. Guess this is after the meeting. You got Byron Donalds there too, which is cool to see Byron.
Okay, approaching the top of the hour, seeing President Trump at the great spot there, the Alligator Alcatraz in the Everglades. So we heard a lot from President Trump there. It was pretty insightful.
Yeah, very in-depth, and again, another masterclass in press conferences and access to this president. It's wonderful. You have a lot of Florida media there, but also many who traveled on Air Force One with the president to ask him several questions there with Governor Ron DeSantis, Secretary Kristi Noem, and Congressman Byron Donalds, who likely will be the future governor of Florida.
Should be the vice president.
Governor Ron DeSantis, but he has to go back and vote on that big, beautiful bill, which just passed the Senate. 51-50, so the tie-breaking vote coming from Vice President J.D. Vance.
Exactly. This is after 25 hours of debate. So here we go. Now to the U.S. House of Representatives, and then we'll see. Will it be at President Trump's desk before the goal of what President Trump wanted prior to July 4th? We'll see. We'll monitor it here as we get ready to see President Trump go toward Air Force One. We'll watch him take off right here with you here on the network as we will monitor the big, beautiful bill over there in the House. And then we'll obviously see President Trump on his way back to Washington, D.C. Then he'll be on Air Force One in about 48 hours from now, going to Iowa. He'll be on the way to Iowa, too, for that huge speech in Iowa Thursday night.
Looking forward to hearing from President Trump and celebrating really the kickoff of this Jubilee year for the United States as we enter number 249 into the 250th birthday of this great country. And this big, beautiful bill will be really a testament to what this nation can do as a team with public and private entities endorsing what's happened here. Now, it goes back to the House because the Senate had some amendments and took out some parts of this bill. So, for example, even Senator Marsha Blackburn of the great state of Tennessee, the volunteer state, taking out the AI provision in there. She has been discussing this on a regular basis along with many, even on the Republican side, about wanting to move forward with AI regulations coming from their state specifically. So we see a lot of federalism involved in this. Of course, President Trump, the federalism president, and worried about states' rights in all of this, especially with things like education and getting those entities that do better locally to actually oversee these things. So we'll see what the House does with this, but President Trump saying the House will probably actually have even more support now, that ultimately it'll come to his desk, the Resolute desk, for signature.
And some very interesting questions from Blaze Media as well, asking about Mayorkas and a possible arrest or anybody being arrested from doing any breaking the law at all. President Trump saying to DHS Secretary, maybe we should look into that. That's a great question, the president said, or he said it was a good question. I thought so too, as we are looking at live right now at the airport, which is right there alongside this new facility. So the president will be headed over there. We'll go to that live as soon as we see it. We'll watch him take off too, because it's always fun to do that. So moving forward, we look like we have on Thursday, again, the speech coming up on Thursday for President Trump in Iowa. And then, of course, on Monday, the Israeli Prime Minister will be heading to Washington, D.C. So a lot of coverage coming up as we continue to stay live here on the network, as it's now 1:01 Eastern, Tuesday, July 1st. Good old Robert McNeely and good old Matthew Alvarez here live with you right now on Right Side. So glad you're with us. So glad you're streaming in. And, it's pretty cool to see President Trump earlier, touring the facility and then just getting that kind of inside baseball of just, he's answering questions, moving along there. And there was something that he posted on Truth Social, I believe. It was truth and transparency, this White House. Isn't that the case?
Well, you see it so much, and step by step there we see him answering questions from the media, from the press, actually inviting Governor Newsom of California to come visit the facility, and Governor Desantis saying, yeah, he's looking any time to see how this can work, because we're seeing it in real time. It's air conditioned as well, so if any one of you having those questions, being in a swamp, being in the middle of summer in the sunshine state of Florida, rather warm, this will be a very humane, very clean facility that these people won't have a long time to stay at. Again, they will actually be having quicker and speedy judgments compared to those J6 prisoners in the last administration who did not have their Sixth Amendment rights granted to them in solitary confinement for 2, 3, or close to 4 years in some cases. And regardless how you feel about where someone was in that situation, they were charged with something, they should receive a speedy trial per our Constitution. That's across the board, whatever the violation is. If you're being held in contempt, if you are being held in a prison, you need to have that speedy right to trial as guaranteed to you by our founding documents.
Exactly. So we're told that there's anywhere from 3,000 to 5,000 beds there to house that illegal aliens, but also to process and then deport. So it's that airport that'll take people to where they go and belong. Again, 3 minutes after 1 o'clock, just checking right now on X and Truth Social. The big news right now, of course, is that U.S. Senate vote 51 to 50, Vice President J.D. Vance, the tie-breaking vote. Now the big, beautiful bill goes to the U.S. House of Representatives. Something to definitely monitor tomorrow as well.
Thanks for joining us. I don't even know why we listening to them right now. Okay, you guys, thanks for joining us. We want to get to the big, beautiful bill. We heard that the Senate has signed it. So look for an upload, or we might go live on it, because we want to break it down. We need to understand, I'm looking at the Medicaid. I don't want Americans to be losing their health care. We want America first. We want to make sure that bill is really positive, and what changes did they make, because there were some amendments. But anyway, thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit the like, share, and subscribe, and we will see you on the next live. Look for the notification bell, because we're going to upload later on. So anyway, thanks, God, for joining us. God bless. You can leave your comments after this live. We do read them and we do respond to them. We're not ignoring people, but the only way that we can see what you're saying is if you super chat us. And we do have a Speak the Truth 2.0 Instagram. So we're going to start posting on there so people can find information. You can talk to us, and maybe we can bring you on live on one of our live streams. But anyway, God bless. Thank you for joining us. Have a great day and happy Tuesday.